Okay, in this video, I'm going to share with you the exact email marketing system I would build out if I was starting an e-commerce brand from scratch and wanted to scale it to 7, 8, and 9 figures. This is the exact email marketing system I've cultivated and curated that my agency uses for multiple million-dollar brands that essentially gets email to a point where it's doing around 30 to 50% of their total revenue, leaves a lot of cash in the bank, and really gives our brands that competitive edge when it comes to profitability. This is hard-earned wisdom that I have cultivated over about 4.5 years of running AuraSeed, my boutique agency, and also my business partner who scaled his own supplement brands and sold them. There's a lot of in-house experience here, which has been hard fought for. And I kind of wish a video like this existed when I started my agency about 4.5 years ago. I spent a lot of money on courses, and I've spent countless hundreds, if not thousands of hours studying other top D2C marketers, other top brands, and breaking down their funnels. And what I've decided to do is take all of that experience that we've got from running email marketing for our brands and generating over, I think, 50 million in revenue for our brands at this point. All of those 4.5 years of experience, all of my studying, put it in a blender and I've put it into a course. I'm going to share everything with you here. I think a lot of people would be paying thousands of pounds for this kind of course. I'm going to give it all for you for free on YouTube. All I ask is you give me a little like, subscribe, and a comment if you find this helpful, and I'm going to get stuck straight in. So this is the full AuraSeed email marketing masterclass that any D2C brand needs if it wants to scale profitably, but also to have that kind of email system which makes other brands want to copy them. I'm sure there are plenty of brands where you can think of newsletters or emails where you're like, oh, that brand crushes it over email. You want to be that brand. You want your customers to have that impression of your emails because that's going to lead to so much more profitability, so much more customer lifetime value. And the way that we get there is by absolutely doubling down on email. So before I go on, brief introduction. My name's Sean Miller. I've been running AuraSeed for just over 4 years now. I run it with my other business partner, who's another Sean. He's owned his own supplement brand, sold those. He's worked in big agencies as well prior to that. And altogether, we've got about 10 or 15 years of D2C sales and marketing experience. That's who we are. My business partner's owned his own supplement brand. And my approach to building AuraSeed was very much to have a boutique philosophy, focus on quality over quantity, because I see so many agencies out there don't deliver that world-class email marketing experience, and they don't master everything I'm about to share with you here. And that's why agencies find themselves, or the brands, I should say, find themselves in this revolving door of kind of working with cowboy agencies and wondering why all agencies are shit, damaging trust, trying to build things in-house and realizing marketing managers can only do so much at a given time as well. I want all of that to end. So that's one of the reasons I built this course. I also want to just give small brands all the information they need so they're equipped to win early and potentially come and work with us a little bit later down the line. Agencies, I want you to deliver a better service because it's within my interest that you build our reputation up and you build trust. If we've got better agencies out there, there's going to be more trust. It's good for the greater whole. So this is my national service, or this is my service to the agency world. And obviously for, those multiple 6, 7, 8, and 9 figure brands who want to optimize their email marketing to their highest potential, but also potentially considering a partner right now. Hopefully, all of the information I share with you here is so insightful that you feel motivated to book a call with us and potentially work with us a little bit later down the line. I'm not going to hide the fact that that's one of the intentions of putting this out here. But nonetheless, I'm gatekeeping no information. So why email marketing matters more than ever right now. So email compounds both acquisition and retention. Most companies are crushing it right now. And most companies that are, fast growth, by all accounts, Meta is around 90% of their ad spend. Meta is 90% of their marketing budget, which is huge, right? And I'm not thinking that's a bad thing at the moment. I think it's unprecedented that companies can grow so significantly with the right media buy and acquisition strategy. But that's a lot of money to Zuckerberg, and that's a lot of pressure on a third-party platform. The power of email marketing means you can actually start to build and own your own list, which is crucial. It's an absolute moat for your business, and it's key to getting that competitive edge and profitability. So we really, really want to be mindful of building that email list. And like when we start to have really strong email marketing systems in, it should compound your acquisition and improve your return on ad spend because not everyone's going to purchase right away. And if we can convert them and get them onto our email list and then nurture them through high quality content, there's a high chance we'll convert first time customers. But it's also your number one way to retain customers, increase your returning customer rate, and increase your customer lifetime value, which is key for profitable scale. So email is really what's going to be that safety net for your acquisition, and it's going to make sure that you're not, if you've got a solid email marketing system, it's going to ensure that you're not sort of generating leads and sending traffic to a leaky bucket because that's just a waste of money. Email also increases, as I've mentioned, the lifetime value of your customers, profitability, and also deepens brand identity. I mean, it's one of those channels that you can be in front of your audience 2 or 3 times a week. Like there's no other channel where you can really do that. So you can make really meaningful brand impressions. And these campaigns, for example, should obviously generate revenue, but they're also investments into your brand bucket on a weekly basis. So the question is, what kind of impressions are you making? Channels like paid Channels like paid ads and Instagram obviously drive traffic. Email then helps to convert, retain, and multiply that. Creative then feeds all of these channels. So I've got a nice little diagram that I built here. We've got obviously paid ads here, which is going to generate the majority of the traffic to your website. Then we want to convert through the pop-up and get them into our email marketing systems, nurture them, get them over the line, and then keep them coming back. And then obviously we want to compound our brand identity through organics and build trust. And obviously we want content to then continue to feed meta. So we have an abundance of creative tests, because we all know right now, creative and having a high volume of creative testing is key for meta to really drive that profitable growth. Creative is the new targeting. And then all of that creative can also be fed into email marketing, so we can start to keep things fresh, exciting, continuously give new dopamine hits and new exciting content to showcase within email. And this is the flywheel that's going to lead to a lot of growth. So this is where really all your budget needs to be going. You want to get all of your email marketing systems built out and have consistent campaigns. You want to be running paid ads and have a great media buyer on board, and you want great, content, I should say, UGC, lifestyle, studio shots to feed all of that and gradually build your organics over time as well. The two-phase system. Now this, I should be charging you guys for this two-phase system, because it took me a long time to ideate it and get clear. And it's going to seem simple now, as all great ideas do. But over the longest time, I was overwhelmed with the abundance of different things you could do through Klaviyo blogs, through other attention marketers, all of the different complicated flows that one could build, etc., and all of the cool things one could test and optimize. What I've realized is, if you break things down into my two-phase system, foundation and optimization, you're going to get 80% of the results you can possibly get through email marketing through phase one, through the foundation phase, which is huge. And then you can progress on to the phase two, which really never ends. And this is really what you need to do. I can sort of like reverse engineer all of a brand's problems with email marketing by not acknowledging the difference between phase one and phase two. So foundations in phase one is all about flows, sign up forms, and launching a campaign cadence. But you want to build this foundation well. This is like when you're a white belt in martial arts and you learn all of the basics, right? You want to learn all of these well. You don't want to rush past this and try and get to the fancy moves. You want to nail this. 80% of the results come from the basics done and executed at a high level. So do not rush through this. Any agency saying they can build this within 2 or 3 weeks indicates that they're probably rushing through this. And then you wonder why after 2 or 3 months you end up firing them and you're not impressed with their results. It's because you can't rush this. This should take around 60 or 90 days, in my opinion. Get this right, don't rush it. Everything will be better. I say this to my team. All problems manifest from getting phase one done poorly. Get phase done one right, it fixes all of your problems. So build the systems, find your email identity, and start driving revenue. Then we can move on to phase two, which pretty much never ends. This is like where you want to live, then indefinitely. Ongoing campaign rhythm, ongoing tests, flow refinement, and creative iteration. You want to keep watering this channel for life. Phase two never stops. You want to turn Klaviyo into a predictable compounding growth channel for you. You never want to let it atrophy. You want to nurture it with care, attention, and love, because it is one of your most important assets to your business. If you have like 50, 100, 200,000 subscribers and they're engaged, if Meta turned off for a week, or um, if your ad account got shut down or blocked, you could still send emails there. And because you're not spending any money on ad, you could still be in profit. Now, that's a huge asset for your business. Email is what's going to feed you, your family, and feed your lifestyle for the next 15 or 20 years. You do not want to neglect it. I see plenty of brands come through the door who book in calls with us occasionally, who have been in business for 10 or 15 years and they've only got 1,000 people on their list. That is just terrible. You do not want to get there. You want to be building that list aggressively and keeping it engaged from the beginning. And in 5 and 10 years' time, you are going to have a monster of a company. Let's dive into phase one in a little bit more detail. Phase one, sign up strategy and pop ups. That's where we want to start straight away. Pop-ups is really the top of your email funnel. You want to get this optimized to the highest potential. It's one of the quickest wins you can make, and one of the most overlooked areas I see a lot of brands make when I audit their accounts. So our goal for any brand that we work with is to get a 10 to 25% conversion rate. Now, to some of you, you might be doing that. I imagine the majority of you are doing like 3 to 5% if you're lucky. I'm going to share with you everything you need to know to get a 10 to 25% conversion rate on your sign up form. And why? Because more signups mean more retargetable traffic and obviously a larger community base. The more people that funnel into your flows, the high chance that you can convert and retain them long term. For most of our brands, we use Alia to redesign the sign up forms just because our design team has way more flexibility when it comes to the UX, the design, and just making it super attractive. So we're a big fan of Alia. If you want to use Alia, I will leave an affiliate link in the YouTube bio. If you don't want to use Alia, it's not crazy expensive. The ROI oftentimes always is worth it for our brands, but you can replicate their kind of best performing formulas within Klaviyo. And we've done that for some of our brands as well, who just really are averse to like investing in tools and other platforms. Some of the keys for having a high converting sign up form, I'm going to give you some examples in a minute, is make it bold, make it engaging, make it simple, make the offer super clear. The highest leverage test that you can make on a sign up form is the style, the structure, the offer, and the timing. This will make or break your sign up form. If not using Alia, replicates the best performing designs within Klaviyo. So here's the thing. When you're generating traffic to your website through ads, let's say 5, 10, 15% of people, directly respond, purchase straight away. That's your conversion rate, right? Give or take a couple of percent. Well, then you've got to think, well, there's still a ton of people coming to my website that are not converting, right? There are a lot of people coming to my website that are not converting. We want to take that additional, 40, 50, 60% of people and sign them up to our email list. And then they can go through our flows, through our campaigns, and we're going to massively increase the likelihood of people who can then convert. So if we don't have solid email marketing systems in place, we're just depending on the people who convert straight away and directly respond through ads. If we have a great email marketing system in place, we're going to dramatically increase the amount of people we can actually turn into first-time customers. So email really can help compound conversions significantly. And then they're on your list, then we can start to retain them and keep them engaged and get them to buy once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 10 times. This is all done through email marketing. So you really want to optimize the amount of people funneling into your email list. When it comes to offer, this is one of the key things. Offer pretty much needs to be like the only copy you have in your sign up form for the most part. If you've got birthday fields, if you're asking for first name, last name, email address, birthday, you're cooking, and if you've got loads of boring copy like sign up to our email list and we're going to give you the latest updates, etc., can all of that, it just really drowns your offer. The offer is the only thing that really people are interested at this stage. You need to give people a good reason to sign up to your email list. You need to give them a good incentive. The average consumer is signed up to around 30 or 40 different brands, so unless you give them a good reason to sign up to your email list, you're gonna lose them. So you want to start simple. I would say a percentage off, a fixed amount offer. If you're really tight, joking, you want to do free shipping. Free shipping can still be good leverage. You can even add that on as well. You can upgrade for SMS. I'll talk about that a little bit later. A little bit later down the line, I would say this is really more for phase two. You can think about free gifts, maybe 30-day free samples. Mystery discount, though, I wouldn't say is for phase two. I actually think that's probably one of the first tests you can make. As of now, end of October 2025, I'd recommend doing a percentage off, and then I'd recommend split testing that against a mystery discount. Now, the mystery discount is really the percentage off. It's just the way that you frame it. So you've got a mystery discount, and like you can see it here, for example, you've got a mystery discount. And that's just a really, really more attractive way of positioning it. It adds a level of mystery, intrigue, and curiosity. People want to, engage on that adventure. Really, really increases signups here. So I've probably lean into doing that. Ideate what or like get clear on what your percentage off is with your margins. What's the best offer you can leverage? How profitable your acquisition? You have to think of these things a little bit. Figure out what the offer is you're willing to leverage on your welcome flow, and then I would split test that percentage off with a percentage off. That's where I would start within phase one. I would really though consider. I've got an arrange there. I would really consider doing a quiz as well, and you can see that here as well as the one on Fluid. And this is where we can, collect this is where we collect what we call in retention marketing zero-party data. So not only does a quiz really engage your audience because it adds a level of interactiveness, people like to fill out questions, it just generally by virtue of having the quiz, it increases engagement from our experience and from our tests, which I think is really, really cool, right? But also it's going to give you really meaningful data on your audience. It's going to give you zero-party data. Let's say, for example, 80% of people said they were stressed, and that's what they're struggling with most. Well, that's really, really important insight. So over time, we can start to see if the sample size continues to compound disproportionately in one area, and then we can start to go, okay, But that's an angle we really need to lean into from our campaigns. That needs to be a recurring feature every month. We need to do stress-based emails. You might even inform product development in a meaningful way. If you're thinking what SKU should I go for next, well, 80% of our customers said they were struggling with burnout. So maybe we just need to lean into burnout style supplements, for example, etc. So zero-party data quizzes, really advanced. If you could do a mystery discount with a quiz and make it look incredibly attractive like this, and this is why we love Alia, because let's be honest, your pop-up is like the invitation to the party, I like to say. If it's a really fancy invitation, it's really beautiful, it's really going to set the tone for like what one could expect actually at the party. Like it really starts to set the tone for your brand experience. If it's really well designed, the typography is nice, it's big and bold, it already starts to go, okay, this is a cool brand. This is a real brand. It's not just a mum and pop brand that's being ran from a garage, right? So I really think don't sleep on how the UX, the style, and the structure and the aesthetic of your sign up form can really contribute to its engagement and just the general tone of your brand experience. I also like this one as well. This is called a micro opt-in, where essentially we have a CTA before we ask for the email address. In all of these, you have to click something before you ask for the email address. I generally prefer this as a sign-up form. I find this converts the best. You can split test it as well, but even if it's just want 10% off, yes, please, no thanks, that tends to perform better than just asking for the email address straight away. Put a timing test on, 5 and 15 seconds is a great place to start. If you do run a drop shipping brand and you're running ads to product pages and conversions at everything, you can delay this a little bit. We've got some brands where that's the case. So I wanted to include this, maybe do a 30-second delay or something like that, just so you're not hurting conversions, but you still don't want to sleep on it. You still want to play the long game though, and get people onto your email list. And oftentimes it's not going to hurt conversions too much, but oftentimes you're going to really, really increase the amount of people on average you can convert. But I just thought I'd add that note as well. Get your sign-up forms looking like this. Go into the Alia template library. If you want to recreate it within Klaviyo, take inspiration. But this is pretty much all you need to do to start crushing pop-ups. You know, within the first week for most of our brands, we're getting 20% sign-ups just by implementing these kind of styles and structures. So I'm going to leave it there. Let's move on to the welcome flow. The welcome flow is the first flow customers are going to go through when they sign up through the sign up form. So you've really got an opportunity here to really curate a predictable customer journey for them to go through, right? We really want to be getting 10 to 15% placed order rates on this welcome flow. That's kind of like my goal, my KPI for most of our brands, depending on the product category. But we really want to think about introducing them to our brand in a meaningful way, educating them about what we do, inspiring them to purchase from us, and ultimately getting conversions. We want to be thinking storytelling here and everything a customer needs to know about our brand. We want to position in an attractive way. If we curate this welcome flow really well, it should consistently be one of the highest revenue generating flows. Do not rush this. I like around 4 to 7 emails within this flow. Sometimes you could do a little more, never less. And I'm going to give you a bit more clarity on timing tests later. Usually, like the first email should be instant, then the next email should be the day after, and then maybe break things up by 1, 2, or 3 days. The flow should really be anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks, I would say. And we really want to be thinking about putting our best foot forward and having a really well thought out and ideated customer journey that takes everyone through our business, everything they need to know. Consistent reminders of the welcome offer as well, because that's going to be one of our easiest, sales pieces to get them over the line as well. So this is kind of what my archetypal welcome flow looks like that I like to build out for my brand. Now, every brand that comes into AuraSeed is a little bit different. So of course we, adjust things and customize things depending on the brand and their product type and their category, etc. But generally speaking, let's dive into this a little bit more. We want our welcome offer, we want to build brand and help them shop. Then we want to tell our brand story, a bit more about our philosophy. Then we want to show people our hero products and our best sellers, maybe remind them of the offer here. Then on email 4, we want to do some education, some value, some further storytelling, maybe them versus us, and I'll get into this in a little bit more detail. On number 5, I wanted just a simple offer reminder, minimal scroll on this one. Number 6, UGC, social proof, transformation, storytelling, etc. And number 7, I like a nice plain text email from the founder. Really nice way to close things off. And oftentimes this is accompanied by another reminder of their offer, because why not? So email 1, welcome offer. I like a clean hook at the top, strong hero image. Don't be lazy in the curation of your hero image. The real estate above the fold is some of the most important real estate within any email. I think multiple sort of like heat maps and data and research and cohorts have indicated that like 80% of your list or your readers don't make it past the fold. So don't waste it. I think I'm seeing a lot of nice big trendy logos at the top. That's really good. I would avoid navigation bars at the top because that starts to split attention. You want customers to have one journey, track their eyes down, and you want to engage them. So you really want to think about just making your email as engaging, having one journey, and not giving them multiple different things to click on and like diffuse their attention. It's not what we want to be doing here. Clear hook, strong hero, and clear CTA, all above the fold if possible. And I'll give you some examples. Then I really like to build the brand a little bit more. And you can do this in lots of different ways. You can do a bit of a note from the founder. You can maybe go into just who you are, maybe some of your best sellers. You can use iconography here. If you're a fashion brand, it's a bit more maybe about image curation and having some of your best lifestyle and model shots here as well, and some of your lifestyle shots in action. But you want to build the brand in a meaningful way after you've introduced them and given them their offer, and then you simply want to guide customers to shop. This is a really predictable formula. I think works incredibly well, and you can see, go look at so many different welcome flows that are really, really good. They kind of follow this formula for the most part with little variations. So hero, offer, bridge section, brand building, and then getting them to shop. This format's awesome. On email 2, I like a brand story, so a founder's notes or a brand purpose story. Sort of tell them a bit more about your key principles, about your key values. If you've got any like PR or if you've been in any cool events, we worked with a cool flower brand, for example, and they've done like Tom Ford like events and everything like that. So that can work really well. Again, it's all about image curation. Sometimes one nice little paragraph, or you can break it up with images and do some storytelling. Nice little sign off. Some of the founders at the bottom can be really personal. Founder stories. This is where we really start to get people to buy into your journey, your story, what makes you different, and start to build community. Really, really important. Get people to buy in. If you're sustainable, talk about why you curated your brand and what the issues were with the industry, fast fashion and things like that. What are your key features? What was the motive? What was the philosophy? What was the inspiration? This is where you get that email in. Email 3, hero products and best sellers. Like, why not tell people about your highest, your best sellers? This is going to probably be the number one. These, for the most part, this is going to be the products people are buying to start off with, at least, right, before they go on to other SKUs. So at least get the highest averaging purchase, items in front of people and give them their offer. So maybe it's a nice big hero image, like, don't forget your 10% off, and then like, check out our best sellers. Of course, do this in a cool on-brand way. Everything I say, take the core principles and make this cool and on brand. And we're going to get into copy. We're going to get into design. It's going to be a long video, by the way. I don't know how long this is going to be. So if you need to go and take a coffee, I'll probably take a little coffee mid-break here as well. But if you can get through this, you're not going to need any other email marketing videos. That's really nice for email 4, email 3. On email 4, educational value content. So I really like this one. This is pretty much anything that you need to say at this stage that you haven't said that's important for you to say to your customers to get them closer to purchasing. So it might be education about like your ingredient process, or like how you formulate your supplements, or why you chose certain vitamins, for example. For fashion, it might be just like a really well curated lookbook and lifestyle integration. For skincare, it might be benefits and features and what makes you different. Anything that's educational, anything that can continue to compound your brand and set you apart in a meaningful way. I've got some other ideas here which you can follow. So it might be, outlet your brand's USPs. It might be a them versus us. So like address your competitor versus other brands. That can work really, really nicely. It might be, yeah, just say anything you haven't said yet. So this is like, you've got a bit of freedom on this email to just put one of your best emails forward, essentially. If you've been sending campaigns, get your best high converting campaign in here, for example. Email 5, offer reminder. Minimal scroll. I've seen it work really, really well when it's just like really, really short. Again, a hero image, maybe a text overlay here, offer reminder, minimal scroll, and then maybe just direct them to categories again. You just want to think about being like an amazing shop assistant. So going like, hey, by the way, you still got 10% off. Here's what we do: pans, frying pans, exact blenders, etc., or like hoodies, sweats, accessories, socks, um, things of that nature. Get people on the product pages, go like, here's your offer, and what are you looking for? It's one of those. Like, that is essentially going to work really, really well. It's sometimes all people need. Social proof, obviously one of the highest leverage things that you can put into emails, but don't do it in a boring way. Don't always just say like, here are reviews. Let's see if you can frame it in an interesting way, hook in an interesting way. Sometimes I quite like it when people put like a quote from a review as the subject line. That could be quite cool. That's going to resonate with your customer. If you're a fashion brand, again, UGC, influencers wearing your stuff can work really, really nicely, or anyone important. Customer storytelling, if you're a supplement brand, for example, curate your best your best transformation. Curate. Be really intentional about the reviews that you pick out, don't just be random on the reviews that you pick out. This is really, really key. Like one great testimonial can, outperform two or three or four really, really average ones. So this is the big one as well. Be mindful about the ones. Sometimes like pairing testimonials with product images can really sort of compound things massively, and having CTAs underneath that. So play around with that. Again, I'm gonna have a swipe file for a lot of these emails for inspiration. And email 7 on the welcome flow, a founder and a plain text email, personal tone, reflection check-in. And here's a real key hack as well. If you're a fashion brand or a brand where you've got seasonal variations, or every season you've got new drops and new collections, if you want to make your welcome flow like really up to date and really like in vogue essentially, and making sure it just seems seasonal, you don't have to redesign the whole flow. Just create beautiful banners, get your designer to add it into like 3 or 4 of your key welcome flow emails, and at the bottom it's going to be like new season or new drop. And that's just a great way of keeping your welcome flow looking really fresh as well, and without like tons of work. So like I just wish I knew that earlier. I used to stress oftentimes like we recreated like an awesome welcome flow. Like seriously, it takes so much time, it's not worth it. Just create beautiful banners and work it in. This is what all of the top brands do. And I've learned this over years of studying these things. Now you want to implement some timing tests, even in phase one with the welcome flow here. And this is really, really easy. Honestly, should take 5 minutes, and it can be like real high leverage. Because again, you've got to think the welcome flow is one of your highest revenue generating flows. So you do really want to like implement some low hanging fruit here to try and improve the results from the get go. If you put in good timing tests, you can start to see if your audience responds better to a slightly more aggressive timing window or a longer window. And you can only notice if you test. So we recommend implementing this timing test from the outset. Steal this. You can have a quick one, a medium timing test, and a long one. Just create various different branches and clone the emails out. But then you can just let this run for 90 days. You can just pick this up in phase two. You don't need to do much with this information within the first 90 days of implementing this system. Come back to this a little bit later, because then you're going to have a meaningful sample size in there as well. And you can start to see what journey had the highest placed order rate. Simple as that. And then you can double down on that, and then you can start to make other welcome flow tests later, and you don't really need to worry about timing tests again, especially when you've had like a good couple thousand people going through there. Let's move on to the abandoned cart and checkout flow, which is a huge flow. If we can start to recover abandoned carts and checkouts predictably, so much more revenue left on the table. Honestly, we've come into some of our brands here and we've optimized our abandoned cart and checkout flows, and we've predictably seen an extra like 10, 20, 30, 50K a month left on the table through optimizing this, depending on like what stage of business you're in. Arguably, I should have put the site and browser abandonment here first, just if we were really going to go sequentially through a customer's journey. So this is no particular order. Implement site and browser abandonment first by all means, but I'm just going to focus on the abandoned cart and checkout here. We'll get to site and browse a little bit after. The purpose of this email is to recover high intent revenue, handle objections, and sometimes just simply remind people that they've added products to their baskets. Some people just add products to their baskets out of habit, maybe reminders to self, or perhaps they're not even quite ready to make the purchase yet for whatever reason. They might be just holding out. They might not be in a purchasing mindset. They might be tired. They might want to do it when they're like woken up in the morning with their coffee and they're feeling a bit more confident about their finances. They might be waiting to get paid. It doesn't matter. Lots of different reasons people leave it here. Maybe they're close to purchasing, but they've got a few objections and they're just not quite sure yet. So when a visitor adds to cart or checkout but leaves before purchasing is going to be our trigger. Our initial send wants to be around 15 minutes to 60 minutes delay. So this is kind of like the typical timing cadence. So email one after around 15 or 60 minutes. You could put a timing test on that one, and everything else can be the same. Email two, 1 day after. Email three, 1 or 2 days after. Email four, 1 or 2 days after. And email five, let's go for 2 days after. And I'm going to give an offer there to non-purchasers. So I've given you kind of the two splits here. We don't want to do loads of testing and various different fancy journeys and splits when it comes to phase one, but this is definitely one I would do from the outset. You want 5 emails each, but if we zoom in a little bit here, we want a reminder, clean and clear. The first one's just a reminder, because it might just be they've forgotten about it. So all we want to do is remind. If they then don't purchase, we want to give them a reminder with some USPs and build a bit of our, make it more compelling, handle some objections with some, unique selling points. Number three, we want to add some social proof, UGC, CGC, reviews, etc., and remind them of their offer, of their welcome offer at this stage. Because they haven't used it and they're a non-purchaser, we still want them to use that welcome offer and get them over the line. Once people purchase and have our products and have purchased once, the chance of them purchasing multiple times becomes way higher, obviously. So let's not be afraid to re-leverage that welcome offer. Email 4, if they still haven't done it, another reminder, but let's overcome some objections with some FAQs. And maybe we want to go through some FAQs. Maybe we want to look at like some USPs from reviews or negatives that people have on reviews, and we want to answer them as in like an FAQ format. And I'm going to give some examples of what that could look like later. Real nice email. I really, really like that one. And then on number 5, a bit more urgency, final reminder and welcome offer. Maybe add a bit of urgency. You've got it for 24 hours. The non-purchase split is about the same, but the only detail is because they've already used an offer, we're not going to be leveraging that offer again. You may well want to set a condition here where if they haven't purchased for a year, they can use the offer again. But that only depends on whether or not what kind of product you have. Because let's say you're a high price point blender and you've only got 1 or 2 products on your website, 1 or 2 SKUs. Well, it's kind of normal they haven't purchased within a year. So you don't want to just be handing out loads of offers. But also, you might still well be up for doing it because you don't care if you get 2 purchases, even if they are offers, because the margins are still good. So you want to think about what makes sense for your business there. But for most of our brands, we filter between purchases and non-purchases. If they haven't purchased for a year, they can go into non-purchases again more often than not. Most brands are happy to, get a customer back and win a customer back if they haven't purchased for a year with another offer. So email one reminder, you left these behind, clean hero, no big scroll, have the dynamic product pretty high above the fold if you can, and a strong CTA. Try and be clever, a bit of humor, or direct, whatever your brand tone of voice is. This is a good opportunity to really lean into that. But clear over clever oftentimes makes the most sense on this one. Email 2, we want to overcome objections. So list some USPs, features, and maybe some guarantees. Light emotional trigger maybe. So, we'd hate for you to miss this. This can work really nicely for email 2. Email 3, as I've said, UGC testimonials and offers. Oftentimes, social proof is the ultimate sales lever. So you want to curate 1 or 2 of your best testimonials if you can. Accompany these with images as well. As I said in the welcome flow, that can work really, really nicely. Mine your best reviews. Go through your reviews, filter them for 5-star. Pluck out the highest averaging benefits or pain points. You can even use ChatGPT to help you understand that and digest a high volume of reviews. If you want to do that, that can work well. And then use those. Ask ChatGPT, what's the most recurring theme here? Which reviews should I use in my abandoned cart emails? Just use AI in a smart way. It can be really, really clever. Still deciding, that's the kind of statement you want here. Here's what customers are saying. Layer in the offer if they haven't used that welcome offer yet as well. This is a little example of one of our brands that we work with. So you left this behind, secure my skincare, all high enough above the fold. Nice type play as well. Here's why Dated Face stands out. The order is going to go here, so really nice and high above the fold. Then we've got some beautiful Q&As here in a really engaging way. I mean, I think that's a beautiful email. Don't know if you agree. So email 4, urgency, and offer. This is only for non-purchases though. So often we want last chance, urgency tone. You can add another testimonial or social proof in here as well on number 4. Layer in another offer reminder. Lean into, we can only keep this offer for so long. That's the kind of tone of voice you want here. Maybe 24 hours to create urgency. You can play around if you want to do testimonials in the 3rd one or the FAQ in this one as well. But I really like the FAQ one in email number 4. I think that works really well, which is what you can see here. And number 5, product suggestions or alternative picks. So for those who still didn't convert, go still looking, here's what other love. Because if you've got to like email 5, still in your cart, but you haven't like pulled the trigger, it might just not be the right product. So you may well want to just remind people of that offer one more time, final chance, and then give people some other categories or bestsellers to go and explore as well. That can work really, really nicely. So that's what I like. Or it can be a plain text email from the founder on number 5. No right or wrong here, but these are the kind of emails you want to be thinking about. And this is kind of what you want the split to look like. We did a timing test here as well because we've already decided. No, we did a timing test here as well, but you should also do a purchaser and non-purchaser split, which is done above this as well. So we've cloned this out twice. So you've got a purchaser and non-purchaser split, but we've done a bit of a timing test here. Don't worry about the timing test on this in phase 1. I would just do the purchaser and non-purchaser split and make it look like this in phase 1. Honestly, it's going to get you again 85% of the results. So let's move on to the browse abandonment flow. This is a really, really important one. Again, if you get this right, browse abandonment's really, really powerful. It can really just this is when someone's just walked into the store and you go like, how can I help you? It's a big, big bookstore, let's say. And you go in and be like, you're going to just, if it's too big, it might be overwhelming and people don't even know where to go to. So browse abandonment's like, oh, hey, you're here. Where do you want to get to? So the purpose is to turn curiosity into conversion. This is triggered when someone views a product, but doesn't end up adding that product to cart. So they just go and look at something. Maybe they like to wear it. They pick up the t-shirt, feel the fabric a little bit, but they don't actually take it to the checkout, right? They don't buy it. So essentially they're window shopping, let's say. There are many reasons as to why someone doesn't progress down the funnel and take this to the checkout. But in many cases, they weren't fully sold on the product or brand. So they need options and they need convincing. So just to double check, the trigger here is when a visitor views a product but leaves without adding to cart. Now, Klaviyo is going to give you, these triggers already, so you don't need to worry too much. The initial send should be around 30 to 100 minutes to 120-minute delay. So test between 1 or 2 hours, essentially. The follow-up cadence is around 3 to 5 emails 30 to 120 minutes before browse for the first one. Then you want to send second email the next day, 24 hours after. Email 3, and either 24 to 48 hours after as well. Maybe go for 48 hours on this one. You don't need to be too aggressive at this stage. And these are the 5 emails I'd recommend sending. So again, a simple, clean and clear reminder plus a bit of brand info. So we don't need to handle objections at this stage. Maybe we just want to tell a bit more about our brand at this stage. Number 3, social proof reviews, UGC. Just again, people follow the herd. You want to just validate and give social proof and trust. This is a big one. Number 4, again, if they haven't purchased, give them that offer, but then give them shopping options, because I think give shopping options earlier within the browser abandonment, because at this stage, it's probably a higher chance they haven't found the right product yet. So give them that offer and get them shopping like, oh, by the way, you've got 10% off, and here are our jeans, here are our hoodies, here are our caps, here are our underwear. Okay, cool. Like, okay, I've got a great offer here, and there's so many other things that I can explore within the store. That's kind of what you want to be thinking for email 4. You could even give shopping suggestions on email 3 as well after testimonials. I don't mind that. And on email 5, a bit more urgency and shopping reminders again. So you can cover a lot within the browser abandonment. This was probably just under the performance of the abandoned cart flow. So you really want to double down and get this one right. And I've detailed all of these things out in a bit more detail. By the way, there's full documents within the bio, within the description of the YouTube video. Again, I should be charging for this, but I'm not. I'm going to leave it there for free. So you can go through all of these and look at them in a bit more detail. We saw you checking us out. Is a bit of cliche, so try and do that in a more interesting way now. But give an idea on that should give you an idea on like the general sentiment and the tone of voice and like the kind of copy you should be thinking about for these emails. Make it clear, but also do it in your brand tone of voice. Like take the cliches and make them less cliche. Branded, warm, but not pushy. Hey, we saw you checking us out. All of that stuff. Email 2, obviously brand info and values, product details, USP, trust cues, for example. Testimonials plus suggested picks for email 3. Curate product grids, similar items, most loved, curate UGC content. Or if you're a brand that can give transformations, let's say wellness or cosmetics, give 1 or 2 of your best reviews. So not too dissimilar from the abandoned cart here. And offer 4, offer reminder, reuse welcome offer. This is a brand here, for example. You can see treat your little ones 10% off. Use browse 10. Oh, let me get the highlighter here. Treat your offer to 10% off, browse 10. You got their product here. They've got their offer again here. So you've repeated it twice, but the offer's above the fold. And then you're giving them lots of different categories to go and shop as well. Need some inspiration? Check out our bestsellers. That's a really great browse abandonment email. So again, that's to kind of give you some ideas on like what the structure of a browse abandonment should be. Split again versus purchases and non-purchases on this one, similar to the abandoned cart flow, purely because the non-purchases are going to get the offer, and the purchasers who have people who have purchased within the last year, they don't need an offer. Okay. And if they've purchased over 3 or 4 times, if I'm perfectly honest, they don't need to be receiving browse abandonments anymore. Site abandonment flow. I only do 1 email here, but oftentimes a lot of accounts that I audit don't have a site abandonment flow email. And this can be huge. It's really slept on this one, and we've put it in. And again, our brand owners after like 30 or 60 days are always impressed at how much revenue this one brings in. So the purpose of this is to capture bounced visitors who engaged but didn't act. Because you've got to think about it. Why would someone engage and not act? It's usually a time thing. Because they don't really have enough time to really know, like, and trust your brand at this stage. So we need to get people back onto your website, and we need to bid for their attention. If you've got a browse abandonment, but a few other people, a few other brands that they go and visit don't, you can have a high chance of winning that customer's attention back and beating your competitors. It's a real high value flow, really easy to implement. And once again, it increases your chances of converting customers and getting them over the line. This is all part of your pre-purchase stack, everything I'm going through right now. So this is all going to be a safety net and optimize all of the hard work that you've done through ads, traffic as well. You think about all of this traffic you're generating. Now we've got our browse abandonment, our site abandonment, abandoned cart, our welcome flows, our offers, our reminders. We're handling objections. We're guiding them to our store. Every little touch point should be beautiful, well branded, and continue to be like, damn, this is a cool brand. This is a cool brand. Every little bit of copy is quite interesting and clever. This is where you start to really increase the likelihood that you're going to get a high percentage of that traffic into into becoming first-time customers. People just get distracted in life, you know. That's life. So let's get them back. All you need is one email here. The trigger is when a visitor views your site, home or category, and leaves without browsing a product. Okay, so they haven't actually browsed at this stage. This is when this is triggered. We want to send this after 4 hours just in case they progress to like some other stage. So we don't want to send it straight away. So email one after 1 to 4 hours, we recommend 4 hour delay. That's just like the one that's worked for us after timing, like testing this loads of times. So you can take my word for it. You can put a test on if you want. Quick reminder, so saw something you liked or where did you go? That kind of copy works quite well. And again, make it clever, make it original, make it branded for your brand. Use clarity or humor, really depends on the brand. Make it short, simple, and engaging. Can we help you, sister? If you want to add a second one, you can. But again, allow us, really lean into that charming shop assistant energy. It's what I quite like to say. That can work really nicely for the site abandonment. Post-purchase flow. Okay, post-purchase flow. This is one I get really excited about, and the brand owners that I end up speaking to on a daily basis really get sold on our approach to this. I think the post-purchase flow is huge. Typically, the post-purchase was like, thanks for purchasing, follow us on social media, leave us a review, 3 emails. That just does not cut it anymore. Like that is what I learned like 4 years ago. That is like rubbish now. And like you're just leaving so much money on the table here. You really want to think about this is just where your customer journey begins now. Like, what is a predictable journey they can go through after they purchase with you that's going to increase the likelihood that they're going to purchase for the second time, third time, or fourth time, not regret their purchase, get excited about it, and just generally think, wow, that was an awesome brand experience. Like, the post purchase journey is really what's going to guide your customer to their second purchase. So, the purpose is to strengthen trust, educate them a little bit more, and resell. Honestly, this is one of the most slept on flows in this space. And if you think about it, you can literally map out exactly what kind of emails a customer sees after they purchase. You don't want them to just randomly fall into a campaign cadence at this time. You really want to like control and make it predictable the kind of emails they see here. You want a system, right? The goal here is to increase customer lifetime value, trust and connection, and to get them to purchase and make that second order. So the trigger is obviously when a customer completes a purchase. The initial send should be no delay, should be sent immediately. So email one should be sent immediately. And the cadence should cover anywhere between 2 or 6 weeks. So now this is when you have to do a bit of thinking yourself. If you want any advice on your specific brand, you can book in a call with me. I'll just give you some advice. You want it obviously to align with your delivery timeline. So depending on how long your deliveries take, if you're like next day delivery, okay, that's important. If you're a drop shipping brand, maybe shipping from China or Morocco or whatever, and it takes like 6 or 7 or 10 days, you want to map out and make sure you've got important emails there to make the customer feel reassured, build trust, and make them feel like, okay, I've got visibility on when my products are coming. That's a really easy way to just build trust and make a customer happy and not return and leave you bad reviews. It's a really key one. I've got 7 emails here. So we want a nice thank you, it's on its way. Then we want a product info to just build excitement. So we really just want to build excitement. And essentially, like within the first 48 hours, they need to be like, oh, I'm really happy I made this purchase. I don't regret it. Cross-selling straight away is definitely something that I would experiment with. I think true classics, for example, when you buy a t-shirt within the first 48 hours or 24 hours, even within the first day, they're offering you a bundle offer at a really good deal. And I purchased it, works really, really well. So a great way of increasing customer AOV straight away with a cross-sell offer, definitely something to be a bit ballsy with and experiment with. Number 4, I think a little bit later, a week or two, is nice plain text check-in from the founder. Can be really, really nice. Hey, hope you enjoyed X product. Just want to see and see if you're getting on with things. 4 and 5, you can kind of email 4 and 5, you can kind of like play around with. This is like kind of like interchangeable. Again, like you don't need to follow these things as gospel. I'm giving you all of the best ingredients here, and you can now use it and tweak it a little bit on what makes sense for your brand. Right. Number 5, I like retention style or habit formation style email. So let's say, I'll just give you a good example. If they purchase a skincare brand, you go, this is what customers started to notice after using our product for 60 and 90 days. So if they've got a 30-day supply, if you start to build up the idea of like, well, this is what happens if I carry on this journey now. I'm on this journey. This is what happens if I buy something, if I continue on this journey. Like the habit to own, the results are only going to compound. This is really clever retention psychology. If you're a fashion brand and it's not that doesn't really fit for you, you then want to complete the look and then like build the connection and build out your wardrobe, build out your stack is the kind of idea. Like the whole idea of like, you've got some beautiful clothes. We all know what it's like when we bought some beautiful clothes, and then the rest of our wardrobe is kind of like dragging it down, right? So that's the kind of angle here, and just getting more looks in front of them as well, completing the look. It's the kind of idea. So full looks work really nicely for fashion here, but if you can, retention style emails or habit formation emails are really, really powerful in the post purchase. Then obviously follow our community is really, really nice. This is where you get them to follow you on social media and start to build up that organic following. It's still an important email, but I just wouldn't be prioritizing it straight away. And then I think review requests a little bit later down the line. I think brands sometimes shoot their shot a little too early on the review request, and you've really got to build more value first. Allow them a bit more time with your product. If you're just asking for it a week or two after, more often than not, it's just not the right time. So you've got to think about it if it makes sense for your product as well, what product category you're in, right? But oftentimes I just give your customers a bit more breathing space, and I'd hit them with cross sells. You could even add an extra, you could even double down on the cross sell within this as well. I sometimes like a cross sell, then 2 miles later, double down on the cross sell with a bit of urgency as well. Give them an offer if you want to. This can work really nicely. So I'm giving you all of the ingredients here that you need to start to curate a really high quality post purchase experience. So email one, thank you, order summary. Let's get the highlighter back. Thank you. Order summary. Email to product info usage tips. So again, let's say you're Hexclad, for example, where you've got those lovely cooking pans. You might want to give some care ingredients on how to get best use from your pan or how to best cook from it. All of these different things. Anything that's going to like be a great companion to that purchase. Give that. That's where this is for. Usage, care, styling guides. If you're a camping brand, maybe some like cool outdoor camping tips and things like that. Email three, early cross sell, upsell. I just like to say do this within week one. It could be within day one or week one. Subtle, you might also like, you might even want to give an offer. That's optional as well. Maybe you want to not try an offer first and then double down with the offer later. Email four, check in from the founder message. How's everything going with your product? I really like that check in. Email five, habit formation. Email six, follow us. That's when a follow us works really, really nicely. An email seven, review request after repeat purchase. An email eight, you can do another habit formation. Maybe bump this one up a little bit longer. I've already got habit formation long use here. So I've doubled down on this one because I just really like that email. You don't need to do this twice. I'll kind of follow the structure. But then you've got extra information here. So great for skincare supplement brands as well. Here's what's expected in 30, 60, and 90 days. You can give a different type of habit formation email as well within email five. Maybe you give some UGC or social proof as well within this email instead, actually. So I would actually maybe change that. And by the time I release the doc, I'll edit this for you. So actually, I'd put some UGC here as well, because if you see other people enjoying getting value out of things, again, let's just use a supplement, for example. If people are like, a week or two in, but you start to give testimonials and stories of people who are like had transformations, it's just going to almost give a placebo and get people really, really excited about their purchase and give them more psychological buy-in and confidence that they've made the right decision with your product. So that's a great post-purchase. You do want to be mindful, this is really, really important, of the customer's experience as well. So ensure that customers are not receiving post-purchase emails and campaigns for the most part. We've noticed, sometimes when I audit accounts, you get a high unsubscribe rate after people have purchased. And I've looked into it and I'm like, clicked onto a recipient and seen like what their emails they've received, and they've been receiving campaigns. They've been receiving maybe something from like one of their other app integration flows, and then they've been receiving the post-purchase flow. It's just too many emails. They're getting overwhelmed. And if people are receiving like 4 or 5 emails on a given day, it's going to piss them off. And they're going to unsubscribe because they've purchased now and they've got their offer. You don't want to do this. So you really want to curate that. Use smart sending. Make sure they're only receiving those post-purchase emails. The only time you should make sure that they receive the campaign as well, if it's a new product drop or a big sales event or something like that as well. But oftentimes, if people have just purchased, you actually want to filter out people who have. If you're running a big sales event, oftentimes you actually want to not send to people who have just purchased, because oftentimes they'll be annoyed that you're running a big sale and I've just purchased. So that's actually just some secret game as well. You should really know that. But often I audit accounts and see a high unsubscribe rate. So you really just want to make sure your post-purchase journey isn't overwhelming and you're looking at a recipient and seeing how many emails they're receiving. So that's a really important one. I would recommend splitting out the post-purchase as well, building out one flow, not even a split now. This is really high level game. Don't split it between purchases and non-purchases within the same flow. Build out a post-purchase flow for non-purchases and then clone it in Klaviyo and have a separate one for non-purchases. This way you can slightly amend things, have a bit more of a VIP tone for people who have come back. So similar kind of flow, but you want to just have acknowledge like, thank you for coming back again. You know, adjust the post-purchase flow to accommodate for the idea and like adjust the copy to go, listen, you've purchased before and you want to acknowledge that. Maybe you want it to be a little bit less. You don't need it to be as long as they've already purchased again. So this is a big one. So I actually would clone this out again. And again, if you go look at the doc now, I will give you two examples with a post-purchase for purchases and a post-purchase for non-purchases. So that's a really big one. And I would just take out the offers and probably the cross sells as well for previous purchases. And we want to just have a bit more of a VIP tone if they've purchased before and give it a bit more of a personalized message. Replenishment flow. This is a really, really big one. This is great for skincare brands, cosmetic brands, food brands, any brand where like by virtue of your product, that it runs out and you have to replenish it. If you get this in place, this is one of my favorite flows to put in place, and you can do it in so many beautiful ways. The purpose is to drive predictable recurring revenue. Great for replenishment style products, ensures we're getting the LTV required to get that competitive edge and profitability, because a lot of custom brands I work with replenishment style products, they might go, we're not profitable on acquisition, but we are on purchase 2 or 3. But if you can get a customer predictably purchasing like 6, 7, 8, or 9 times, really, really powerful. Because not everyone's going to go on subscription. Obviously, we want to try and get people on subscription. But I've actually got some brands who would rather they don't go on subscription because they found with the replenishment style email, they often buy 2 or 3 products, whereas subscription, they just buy the one. You got to think about that as well. If you time this well with your product cycle, it can be a predictable revenue driver as campaigns keep you front of mind. But this is a personalized and well-timed message, which should come at the perfect time for them and be really, really like targeted in its messaging. You need 2 or 3 emails here, running low. So just a reminder, sent based on product lifespan. So if it's a 30-day supply, send around 30 days. Running low, reorder now and stay locked in. Make it really nice and beautiful, super clean, super simple. Email 2 should be a day or 2 after. Value add, tips on maximizing product life, and a subtle reminder. The value add here is more, again, a bit more habit formation. Like this is what happens when you compound on the journey. Remind people that consistency is key, and the more that you stay committed to certain good habits, like extra results can happen. So you kind of just want to like add a little value there, give a small incentive for early reorder. And email 3, maybe a subscription or an upsell as well. So present auto reorder or bundle options if you want. Never run out again. Save 10% when you subscribe. You can work that into the replenishment if you really do want to try and get more people onto your subscription. That can be a really good one to do. So we move on to the sunset flow. So the purpose of the sunset flow email is to have an automated form of list cleaning, right? So Klaviyo builds can start to get quite bloated, and especially if you've got a really high converting pop-up form, right? Not everyone necessarily is going to turn into customers. We've got really good reactivation plays that you can do through campaigns, but you want to have a sunset flow and do regular list cleaning. Having a good sunset flow will kind of just do this automatically. So it's all about, again, getting leverage and building systems here. So the main purpose of this email is to have an automated form of list cleaning, giving people an opportunity to filter out if they're no longer interested or engaging with your list. This ensures Klaviyo Build stays lean and clean. It also is key for deliverability as well, so we're not having people that are bouncing, etc. The trigger is we want this flow to be triggered when someone hasn't opened or clicked on your emails between 90 or 180 days, depending on the product type. So email 1 is usually like a question, like still want to be on our list, still want to receive our emails. Simple question, no real scroll needed, doesn't need to really be super fancy. And the email 2 can be a bit of a farewell as well. I'd still give them 24 hours before you filter them off. Email 2 is a farewell. Blend warmth, we'll miss you, with maybe some value reminders, maybe like an invitation to shop again, or something like that, or maybe 1 or 2 great testimonials or reviews as well. But this is like, and then otherwise the filter is if they don't click respond or click yes, click the CTA essentially, they're going to filter out and they're going to go on to your non-active list. They're going to be suppressed from Klaviyo and you're no longer going to be paying for them. So that's a really good one to have on your list. I would implement that straight away. It shouldn't take a designer more than half an hour to design that one. Should be real quick win, 1 or 2 emails tops. You could even cover those with plain text emails for the most part, if I'm perfectly honest. Winback flow. This is a really nice one. So the trigger is when a customer hasn't purchased after a set period of time. Now, obviously, campaigns should do a lot of your winning back, but again, you want to have systems around these things, and don't want to depend on campaigns. So the initial send should be around 2 times the average customer buying cycle. Let's say they should typically repurchase after 60 or 90 days. Like, you want to double that, and if they don't go through it, they want to go into a win-back email. For example, if a typical average repeat is 45 days, then we want to send this after 90 days, right? So we go like, we miss you, email 1, a welcome back offer. Let's get them back in, and then the offer reminder. This is going to be all you need for the win back flow. The flow is triggered when a customer hasn't purchased, typically within 90 or 180 days, depending on the product cycle. Email 1's we miss you. We want to send a personalized email acknowledging the fact that they haven't purchased for a while. Here we can feature bestsellers or new arrivals to hook them back in. Make this one seasonal as well. New arrivals is always a nice one because people are always, we're magpies, we like new and shiny things. So I'd always just have a hyperlink to the new arrivals here, if I'm honest. Email 2 is a discount offer. Again, our copy should be simply a nice clean hook saying, because we miss you, or would this help? Maybe a question mark. Lean into your brand voice, use an offer, and give them categories, maybe the new arrivals once again as well. Because they haven't purchased for a while, it's maybe just because there wasn't anything on your store that they wanted. Maybe the timing wasn't right. So maybe new arrivals and bestsellers. Link them to that, give them the offer, and maybe just have that personalized messaging around the fact that, would this help, etc. Email 3, final CTA into emergency. So target only those who haven't converted via campaigns or flows during this period. Oftentimes, a big hero image and an offer with the right subject line can do the trick here. A plain text email from the brand owner could work very, very well. Like, notice you still haven't been here for a while now. Just wanted to let you know we're giving you another 10% off. We've got some cool new things in. Check out our new arrivals here. Plain text email from a founder, signed off. Really, really cool. That's going to work really, really nicely. And that's just going to be a good system, picking up a lot of lapsed customers, etc. So I really recommend this one. Okay, we're in phase 2 now. We made it there. So at this stage, we should have all of the foundational flows put in here, right? And now what I'm also going to do is I'm going to give you advice on how to design things. But within this YouTube bio, I'm also going to give you a swipe file for emails for all of these different flows. So you've got like best in class examples. So you've literally got a breakdown of how every flow you need to put in, the timings, the kind of email and content content you want to have in all of these emails. I'm going to give you design examples on how to really elevate it, because once you've got the right actual strategy in place, then it's all just copy and design to really, really crush things at the end. So that's what you want, and I'm going to give you examples on how to do all of this. So make sure you progress from white belt to blue belt. Get all of these done at a high level. Do not rush through this. Then we're going to move on to phase 2, which is optimization and campaigns. This phase 1 should have taken around 30, 60, or 90 days, maybe 60 or 90 days done well, especially if you want all of the design tips. And if you want to skip through to design tips first, you can go a little bit later in the video and you're going to get design tips. A little bit more about phase 2. So many people get overwhelmed trying to do all sorts of ninjutsu with their flows. And 90% of the time, it's just a big waste of time. They cause themselves analysis over paralysis because they think they should be doing all of these fancy, crazy splits to make themselves feel really clever within the flows. And oftentimes then they just never progress to phase 2 in a clean way. Do the basics well so you can enter phase 2. Phase 2 is the post-flow build era. Now it's about campaign mastery, testing and optimizing flows as well. Let's start with campaigns. Then we can go into some great tests that you can make for both flows and campaigns, and also a system and structure for testing that can ensure we'll cure your analysis paralysis forever. So my campaign philosophy, we are so good at campaigns here at AuraSeed. I'm going to get a color that makes me feel excited here. We're going to go for green. That's the color of money, because this is going to make you guys a lot of money. So my campaign philosophy: campaigns are a living expression of your brand. They inform flows, they teach us what angles resonate predictably, they create sales, and they also keep your community engaged. Campaigns are awesome. I absolutely love campaigns. And in general, when I look at like a percentage of revenue in the Klaviyo dashboard for our brand, Usually campaigns are doing around 30 to 50%, and then flows are doing the rest. So you want a nice, almost like 50-50 split, sometimes 70-30, 40-60. Anything more than that, something is not pulling its weight. Okay, so that's like a typical rule of thumb here. Before we get into campaign, here are some key pillars you need to know to absolutely master campaigns long term. So campaigns, if you don't know, are your one-off send. Obviously, flows are like your automated customer journeys, which are designed, set in place, and then they're triggered depending on a customer's behavior. You want to ideate intentionally. So start from customer insight. Who are your customers? And just ask the question, why would they want to receive your emails? Like, it's a really obvious and dumb question, but you need to ask this. Like, why would someone want to be on your campaign program? Like, if you're a fashion brand, it's because they want to see beautiful emails. They want to see beautiful, like, studio shots and lifestyle shots. They want to be inspired to improve their fashion. And we're inspired by people looking good. Like, so that's a big one. Let's just be honest here. If you're a supplement brand, it might be a bit more education, improving your health, and all of these different things. If you're a cosmetic brand, improving skincare, transforming your skin and making sure like that looks amazing. I'll just get clear on like why people are on your list. If like you're a sports brand, there's a sub community there as well. So entertainment's also a big one. You want to find rhythms, so establish recurring campaign formats. For example, over time, you really want to get to a point with your campaigns where you know every month we send these kind of emails, like these kind of content pillars, and these days work for us really well. You also want space to have like unique things in the calendar, product drops, seasonal and, big events, but things like edits, founders notes, UGC emails, lifestyle integrations, education, drops. You want these to be like recurring themes, and this is like what some of the best brands do when it comes to campaigns. You want to refine and reinforce. So you want to let each campaign teach you what resonates with your audience and build a clear picture of what hits. Like over time, you should go, we know these kind of angles hit. Let's say you're a supplement brand and we send a sleep email once a month. That one always gets good opens and gets good clicks. Probably should touch on sleep within our welcome flow, maybe within that email for within the welcome flow, or at least test that, right? So you always want to start to figure out what works well, and then this can start to feed into your flow optimization a little bit later. But generally speaking, if you're an email marketer for your brand, or if you're a marketer for your brand, or if you're a brand owner watching this, like make sure your email team are starting to build up a picture of like what works for your brand. Like, do they know? Are they tracking that? That's so key. And then you just want to compound performance through consistency. So frequency breeds familiarity, and familiarity breeds trust. So if you show up consistently and creatively, you will ensure your campaign to cook for your brand. You want to be showing up like 1, 2, or 3 times a week. Like if you're a brand that like sends an email once a month, I'd see so many brand owners who are like, we only want to send a email like once or twice a month. It's like, okay, well, every other brand who's doing it well is sending like 5 times the amount of that. Like, which ones do you think your customers are going to purchase from? Let's be honest. Like when you go like for insurance companies, we all know go compare. Why? Because their ads hit you all of the time. Like you know about them. Like the ads. Let's say one insurance company's philosophy is like, we don't want to annoy our customer with ads. It's like, okay, no one knows about you then. It's as simple as that. If you want to have impact and you want to grow as a brand and you want to have the capital to be able to do it, you need to play the game. And this is how you play the game. And you can do it through good content. Like all of your content needs to be awesome. And this is what I'm going to continue to stress on. Like, send campaigns people want to open, make them beautiful, make the concepts cool, make them creative. Be proud of the emails you send. Don't send shit emails. And if you get this right and you're consistent, you're going to be the kind of brand that other brands want to copy. So let's talk about campaign structure. 1 to 3 per week, depending on your list health and capacity. I would say if you've got over around 5,000 people, you can start to hit that 3 per week. Anything below that, I would say 1 to 2 per week is the sweet spot. A typical combination a typical cadence I like is one hero campaign. So maybe storytelling, new collection, drop, focus on like your best sellers, for example. Every week, this is weekly. A conversion driver, so maybe a promo, a product benefit, a scarcity, something that's really selling the product, and then the community builder, so maybe something from the founder, educational email, some UGC, maybe a note from the studio, maybe a bit more of a long form email. And what I like about these ones is you can actually break some of the rules. This can be a little bit long form. I've been noticing like these notes from the studios or a weekly roundup. They're a bit more long form, a bit more storytelling, actually break the best practices of copy I'm going to get into a little bit later. But sometimes these are the highest revenue generating campaigns of the week. We've got a flower band, for example, where we do like a weekly bloom bundle and it's always a 10% off bundles. That all works really, really nicely. Rituals and rhythms within your campaign structure. Always link campaigns to flow optimization. So every month you're going to have like a well of like performance data from campaigns, which should just really give you great insight for like how you can improve your flows. Like use your campaigns as like a guidance on how to improve your flows. So campaign ideation engine. This is like a repeatable monthly system you can use to create awesome campaigns and never run out of ideas, which is what we all want. So this is my campaign ideation engine system. So every month you want to take 60 or 90 minutes to build your campaign calendar. Some of the inputs should go into your brain to think about like how can we create great campaigns here and never run out of creativity. Should be like, what does your site prioritize? What are some of your hero products? What are some of the key benefits? Go onto your product pages, remind yourself of some of the key benefits. You want to be an authority on your niche, so maybe some education, etc. You want to look at like what's seasonal. So like if there's ever a seasonal shift or is anything happening within like a calendar month, if it's Halloween coming up, etc. These are all opportunities to create an email around it and plot it in. Are there any new launches that you're doing? You maybe want like 1 or 2 teasers, then the launch. So that gives you 3 campaigns alone. Then you want to look at market inputs. So like cultural moments, retail calendar, niche events. Do you want to send emails around International Women's Day? Anything like this. Audience signals. So maybe review themes, customer questions, and top of site searches. This is a great one. So what I love to go and do is go look at some of your customer reviews. And you can bang it all into ChatGPT and literally say like, tell me like what are the highest indexing or like one of the most recurring themes that customers love about us and their pay points. And these are great campaign angles because you can either speak to those angles which people resonate with, or you can start to answer questions that people are unsure about. Both of them do a certain job within campaigns. They can help you sort of understand what key features to focus on. So let's say, for example, with your t-shirts, people love the fact that they like fit perfectly and don't come up short. Do your t-shirts and then sort of like create angles around like the perfect fit, for example. Like loads of things that you can do here. Like there should never be a shortage of ideas around campaigns. One of the things I love to do is do a competitor scan. You could do this every month if you want. Over time, you shouldn't really need to do this because you start to just know your brand so well. But if you're getting started into phase 2, these are all the things you should be doing. If you're an agency working for a brand, you need to be doing these things. So get access to Mild and Panoramator. In total, that should be around $200 or $300 a month. And what you can do then is you can literally look at every brand that you're inspired by, that you love, that send awesome emails, and you can literally look month by month what kind of campaigns they're doing. Again, bang that into ChatGPT, look through it yourself if you've got the time to do it, and start to go like, what kind of content pillars do they send? What's their pacing? How many a week do they send? What's their art direction? What kind of email themes are they sending? Get a long list of that, and then every month you can look over that and start to go, okay, I like that. Build up a little campaign prompt library where you've got angles, bestsellers, customer reviews, etc., like, and best angles, competitor angles that they use all of the time, seasonal moments, all of your bestsellers, etc., product categories, etc. Like these are all campaign ideas, right? And then we use Notion, and then every month you want to just go in here and build out your campaign calendar. And you really want to be doing this around 10 days before the next month. So you're well ahead and you can get writing and sending these to designers and getting them live with plenty of time. And then like you can see here for our brands, like we've actually got the content pillar. So like sell event, product or collection category. I'm going to give you even more advice though on how to approach pillars and recurring features and some great examples just to like start to spark some inspiration for you. So edits and looks, visuals first. So seasonal looks, UGC edits or founders picks. Really like these ones. Drops and collections, so narrative, behind the scenes craft, tester campaigns at the big drop. So if you've got a big new drop coming, like do a bit of behind the scenes, like why we chose it. Start to build a story, like maybe a factory shot, maybe like you like designing things or like studio shots, or like if you've done a new studio shot, get someone to record your studio shot just on an iPhone and include that in a GIF. It starts to give a bit of behind the scenes. Really, really high level stuff, this. Product spotlight, one SKU, deep benefits, maybe compare it to a competitor. Demo gifts, for example, if you need demonstrations, like we've worked with a wardrobe company, and sometimes just seeing those in action and how it looks in the bedroom can look really cool. Or jewelry, and just having some interactiveness with the gift and just how it like shimmers and looks on holiday. All of those different things can work really nicely. Just one product spotlight. Let's say you've got a collection of earrings and they're Huggies. Just do a Huggies email and then focus on like 2 or 3 key benefits, or even one deep benefit around it. Proof packs, so reviews, collages, influencer quotes, quick stats, transformations, anything that's proof, right? Anything that's storytelling, anything that's showing it, other people using it, validating it, adding social proof. You can approach that in so many ways. So let's say twice a month you go, we want to have a social proof email. And how do I want to do it this week? What worked well last month? How have some of these other brands that I admired done it? plenty of inspiration here. And again, over time, over a year, you can look over which ones work the best. You want to experiment here and be creative. Founders and studio note builds authenticity, mission. You're building in public. Here you can break the rules. Long form can really win here. I don't care what other email marketers say. Just test it. Ask my brand owners, and I'm talking like 7 and 8, 9-figure brand owners. We send sometimes like behind the, a note from the studio email, and it generates like £15,000 in revenue. Bestsellers, back in stock, waitlist, great way to get fast conversion and a bit more direct response. How we make it, materials, process. This again builds trust and differentiation and sets you apart. If you're a skincare brand and like your skincare's from Korea, like why we source our skincare from Korea, or if you're like a skincare brand, and you're like why most high street skincare products are 98% water. If you're a supplement brand, for example, and it's like a stack, you might want to break down what it would cost to pay for everything, individually, how much it would be to do everything individually, but how much it costs to do it with you. Price breakdowns work really, really nicely, and you can start to price anchor. These are all great campaign angles that you should just start to write down and just build up a campaign vault of inspiration. Take everything I've got here, build out your own document, and you're never going to run out of creativity as well. Here is also some high level agency insider secrets. This is going to have to be in yellow because this is gold. Some high level agency insider secrets, because I can't keep it all to myself anymore. I mean, this is a selfie of me this morning in the car because I was just keeping all of this information to myself. My head's about to explode. So what you want to do is you want to screenshot and download past campaign data from ChatGPT. So you can literally, if you haven't been doing this for a year, don't worry, this is for a little bit later down the line. But as soon as you start to get 3, 4, 6, 12 months of campaign data, you can go to campaigns in Klaviyo, 2, 3 dots at the top, a little burger icon at the top, export CSV over the year, screenshot this or upload that CSV within to ChatGPT, and then you will ask ChatGPT for patterns and past angles, clicks, and even subject lines. I'm going to include a prompt here actually that you can use as well. I'm going to add that to this document so you can use it when this goes live. You can even screenshot some of your emails as well. So sometimes what I do is like go and screenshot the top 10, because you can upload 10 screenshots at one, the top 10 email designs, and put it in there and ask for patterns in the email design anatomy as well. Ask for suggestions and patterns on campaigns, design structure, and copy to lean into, and then use these insights when you start to craft your next 30-day campaign calendar. Go through them as a team in a Google Doc. If you're an agency, present all of your findings to a client. Doesn't even matter if you tell them you use ChatGPT to digest the data, as long as you're organizing it, making sense of it, and then having tangible insights off the back of it. This is how you start to iterate things, right? This is how you go from just, oh, we're going to do these campaigns every month. But why? Because we know why. Because we know this is like what works for our brand. We know our audience. We know our brand. We know the angles that work. We know that our audience always responds really, really well when we talk about how to boost libido, because we're a testosterone brand, right? That one just gets high clicks and placed orders. We know when we do actually a long form email once a week, it just always seems to convert. Strange. Also, another key one here is ask for send times. This is key. I didn't put this here, but you want to ask for send times. This has been crucial for our brand, and it's been transformational because we've started to go, oh, okay, Monday afternoon, Thursday morning, and a Sunday evening work best. Fuck, I didn't expect that. Excuse my French. You do that, and you're going to start to know, okay, we send our emails 3 times a week on these days, and then we know these content pillars are. Campaign becomes a lot more fun, becomes a lot more systematized and a lot more predictable. So like, here's what it looks like when you sort of download screenshot a load of campaign data. Essentially, you can't see it, but it would be here in the top left. You want to get the 3 dots and download the CSV. This is serious sauce, guys. Again, I could pay lots of money for this. I could charge lots of money for this, I should say. So good. And then you want to go into optimization and creative testing, right? So A/B testing, you can do subject lines, hero structure. This is just a bit of advice on how to like optimize and start to run some A/B tests on campaigns. Subject lines, hero structure, send times, and layout rhythm. Don't get too stressed about this. I'm going to sort of like help you break this down so you don't get overwhelmed with like, what do we test? What do we test? Because I'm all about making smart tests, fewer, smarter tests. And I'm going to show you our testing structure a little bit later. So don't worry. You want to do monthly flow audits in phase 2. So now it's all about, we do monthly campaigns and we start to get better at our game with monthly campaigns over time, doing all of this stuff. This is how you start to become campaign masters. But every month, if you're an agency, you should be, if you did an audit for your brand, right, every month you want to be doing a fresh audit. And off the back of that, you want to look at 2 to 3 things that you can improve on a monthly basis from a flow perspective. Oh, our placed order rate or our open rate on our campaign, on our welcome flow is still under KPI, under benchmark. Let's put in 2 or 3 different subject line tests there. Now, a little bit later, I'm going to give you loads of tests as well, subject line test examples. So you've got some ideas as well on like what kind of subject line tests you can make. But you want to report on performance. So you want to every month do an audit. You want to look at these things, these campaigns now every month, consistently learn, iterate, and implement. This is what phase 2 is all about. It's like when you're a media buyer, like you never want to stop optimizing things. It's the same for email marketing. Phase 2, like you want to get all the foundations done in phase 1, then phase 2 is all about optimizing, consistently mastering your campaigns and refining your approach, and then consistently making micro improvements on your flows as well. Every test compounds learning, right? So here's a good weekly optimization rhythm. Keep the systems alive with small, consistent changes. One creative test per week on either campaigns or flows. So like, oh, we're going to test just subject lines on our campaigns this week. Just see what happens, right? I recommend just 2 to 3 flow optimizations a month. One test at a time, no more. Don't try and do tons of crazy tests, right? For example, let's say you've got some zero-party data. Um, Test welcome series email 2, create a variation on that and see what happens when you lean a little bit more into the angle of that particular. Let's see what happens when you split people who answered that data point into a more personalized welcome email 2. Run that for a month and see if it got a high placed order rate. Don't go and build out a completely new welcome flow 2 based on that zero party data if you haven't even validated it. This is why it just takes time. Small iterative tests. You're already getting 80% of the results from phase 1. So all of this is just money in the bank now. So don't rush it. Time is precious. You don't want to, if you start making it like saying, I'm going to redesign the welcome flow and have a completely different split for all of these different zero party data points. Okay, well, there's a time and opportunity cost there now. That's a lot of time and resources that can make you probably start to send subpar campaigns. Is it worth it? Make sure things are worth it. 2 to 3 flow optimizations a month. And this should be off the back of a report and an audit of the account, looking at key KPIs, looking at performances, and being smart and logical. Only make optimizations off the back of underperforming KPIs, okay? Talk as a team. If you've got an agency, talk with the brand owner, have a dialogue around it, take the data, come up with ideas, but also ask the brand owner if they've got any other ideas as well. This is collaborative. This is really how you start to crush things long term. Here are some great optimization ideas though, lads and ladesses. Test discount formats again. So you might want to go and test that sign up form. This is when maybe you can go back and go, all right, let's try the free gift versus the mystery offer. Maybe you want to test pop-up copy and design. If you're already hitting 10 to 20% signups, especially if you're over 50% signups on the pop-up, I kind of just would leave it. Don't, if it's not broken, don't try and fix it. Add 1 to 2 plain text emails a month to each major flow. Maybe split test a plain text email versus one of your heavily designed ones at a certain stage within the welcome flow and see which one performs better. Like let's say, for example, you want to increase your returning customer rate and it's still not where you want it to be. Maybe then go and test that cross-sell and upsell within the post-purchase, maybe add an offer to it. Little things like this, right? Personalize using conditional splits, so has purchased before, products typed view, etc. Like within the abandoned carts, you might want to then start to split out by best sellers. So let's say we have like an evergreen abandoned cart flow, but we clone it and have a slight difference if, and let's say buy this bestseller, then we only give reviews for it. We can really tailor the reviews to that bestseller. So that can be something you can do, but only in phase 2 and only a little bit later down the line. But these are some cool things you can do. So it's like, my abandoned cart's not performing. It's a little bit under KPI, or maybe we just need to speak to get better, like more relevant testimonials for like the products people are viewing. Let's test and see if that works with one email first. Like just on one of the abandoned cart emails, let's split it out if someone's bought a bestseller, and let's give them a really tailored review. And let's go back and look at that. Make a note of that, and let's go back and look at that after a month. We can just, on a monthly meeting, we can go, no, it didn't actually make too much of a difference. Let's not run through that. Let's think of a different test. Let's just get more opens, because actually the open rate's poor. So if we can just get the open rates working better, everything is going to sort of improve, and we're going to get more people looking at it, and naturally we're going to get more clicks, right? This is how you want to be thinking. Split welcome flow by zero party data. I've spoken to this one. You want to validate it though, just with one test before you waterfall the whole idea. This is something I wish I knew earlier, and no one spoke to in any courses, because this is slightly more advanced stuff, right? But this is really, really important. And you want to maintain a consistent A/B testing schedule. And again, 2 to 3 max, perfect. Because a lot of people try and do too many, but then never really like do anything off the back of that data. So less is more, quality over quantity, and make sure you're only making tests that make sense for your brand. Okay. And this is a really good example of like what, where things can get to. I don't know. I'm gonna really like sound like a nerd now, but I think like there was that. What was it? Was it Yu-Gi-Oh, or was it like there was some kids cartoon where things could like Pokemons can evolve, right? So imagine like your evergreen welcome flow here can get 80% of the results, but this is the ultimate Pokemon evolution. I should really have put Pikachu here, right? This is the ultimate. Oh my goodness, I'm not going to do this. This is the ultimate Pokemon evolution. This is what it can come into, right? It's a beast. But you get there over a year or two. You don't need to get here straight away, because this is maybe going to get you an extra 5%, an extra 10% if you get there, but you need to validate first. So let's say you got the welcome flow here. What, the next month, build out this one and this one, and then go see if the placed order rate, if you're more tailored on a zero party data point, is higher here. You need to compare it. And if so, you can validate and do the whole thing. So this is like the ultimate beast and where things can get to in its final evolution, but don't get there straight away, right? Start to build up there. And I wish I knew this sooner. And this is what a really skilled email marketing team will do. They really master campaigns, do everything we talked about on campaigns here, absolutely crush it, do smart things, and then start to gradually implement flows. But you can only do this if you've gone through phase one properly and got all of the foundations there at a high level. Then you've got solid grounds to start building things off. If you never fully progress through phase two, then you're kind of always straddling between two phases and things get messy. And I see the amount of agencies I take over from who come and work with us, and I go and look, and it's just a mess. It's an absolute mess. You don't want that. And I left some really good. I told you I'd leave you some test ideas here. So here are some really good subject line tests: clarity versus curiosity, urgency framing, personalization. So maybe adding in a name, just seeing if that makes a difference. Social proof angle, for example. So like why 3,000 people switched versus what everyone's talking about. So just try that. Here are some CTA tests. So this is usually good for clicks, right? So shop now versus find your fit versus see the collection. Benefit orientated, claim my 10% off or unlock my offer. Or designed, filled buttons versus outline buttons, branded accents, full page, CTAs that span that are larger essentially versus smaller placements. So loads of different things. So like, but only start to work on this if clicks is like a problem, right? If your clicks are under, start to work on these things, right? So like let the results and your KPIs and like your benchmarks guide your tests essentially. And only 1 to 3 a month. Don't go crazy because you can't track everything else. You're human, right? Hero design tests, static versus motion. You might want to try that. I think these kind of tests are best to make, if I'm honest, in flows, because then you get a really good sample. If you just did this once through a campaign, there are too many other micro variables that can like throw off the data. It could just be a good day. It could be a good time of the month. You don't know. But if you, for example, put on welcome flow email 3, on welcome flow email 3, for example, you have one with a GIF and one with a static. Over time, you're going to see which one had a higher play store, and it's going to be super clear. So the key principle here, the goal isn't more tests, it's smarter tests. Okay? You don't need 20 experiments running at once. You need one great idea tested well every week. So now I'm huge on email design, and a lot of email marketers out there go, design's not that important. It doesn't move the needle. If I'm perfectly honest, this is not for those guys, and this is not for brand owners who don't give a monkey's about design. This is for the people who really want those world-class design. This is for the agencies that want to be able to showcase their designs with pride. This is for the brands who want people to be copying their email designs, because let's be honest, beautiful designs and high quality aesthetic emails are going to make them more engaging, are going to spark dopamine, are going to make people pay attention to the emails, make them excited to read your emails, and are going to communicate that you're a brand of quality. It is your packaging. We all know packaging is key. So who the hell is saying email design isn't like important? Like, people buy with their eyes, right? I'm a brand guy. I've been super crazy and intentional about the kind of designers that I hire here, and it's taken me a long time to get world-class designers. So I'm going to share with you some designs along the road here. Let's go. But here is the art and science, and I'm going to demystify what makes great email design as well. So if you're an email designer here, grab a coffee. You're going to enjoy this part. So a full lesson on design now, right? So below, I'm going to go for a full lesson on how to demystify great email design. I'm going to expand on explanations from all of the decks and trainings, because I've made loads of decks and trainings around designs. I've got world-class designers in-house here who have got editorial backgrounds, for example, who have really like helped us really develop our design chops here. So like, you're not going to get a better email marketing design breakdown here, and it's not going to take too long. Extra insights on design psychology, trends, and layout rhythm. And I'm going to sort of insert some visual examples here to really help you out, okay? So why design matters. Design is not decoration, nor is it a waste of time. Something a lot of email marketers like to say, but it's perception. And for me, it's probably because the reason a lot of email marketers say design don't matter is because it's really, really hard to execute on high quality designs at a consistent basis. And the boutique model, we can really do that, right? A lot of guys are just trying to make too much money too quickly, and they don't focus on quality or the longevity of their product, which is like their designs, their team, and their agency. Side note, but in D2C, design is the brand. It tells your customers what to feel before they read a word. We want it to be aesthetic, have best practices like offer above the fold, for example, and having relevant information above the fold. You want to be smart about these things. This is placement. You want it to be shoppable, have a shoppable UX, etc. We also want to make our email design skimmable and clickable, because you've got to think people are in a certain brainwave state when they're scrolling. So when they click on, if they sometimes do see a big wall of text on average, unless they're really an engaged customer, they're going to just look for key moments within the email. They're going to say like, does it draw my eye in? And I'm going to help you understand how to draw a customer's eye in. Great design makes people want to scroll, trust, and buy. It can also determine whether or not someone opens your emails, even reads your copy, or clicks onto your website, not clocks on. Here's a quote from David Ogilvy. You can't bore people into buying your product. You can only interest them into buying it. So that's a powerful reminder that aesthetic and appeal and clarity aren't vanity whatsoever or a waste of time. They're how you earn attention and really build a brand perception over time. So one of the key principles is visual hierarchy. You want to guide the customer eye like a director. Every great email has a narrative and flow. Some are longer, some barely need a scroll. All of them are appropriate and have a place within a campaign strategy. You want to use hierarchy to pull attention exactly where you want it. So headers, big, bold, and emotionally charged. Great example here. Big, bold, and emotionally charged. Back in stock, super clear. Subheaders, bridge to the next idea. So maybe layer in a bit of additional clarity here. So what everyone's riding right now, these parts weren't pushed by ads, they were earned their place through winter rides, through summer crashes. So it adds more context and continues the narrative, and then it funnels through to bestsellers. And notice how we've got this inverted triangle here. This is something you'll start to see a lot of oh, no. Notice how we've got this inverted triangle here. This is how a lot of emails are structured, and it works really, really well. And it's a really just like classic design principle here, which seems to really engage the eye, and almost like it's a little funnel, an arrow all the way. This is from our agency here as well. And what you'll notice on this particular design is it actually follows all of the best practices that I laid out within the welcome email one design structure here. So we've got nice offer here. You'll see typography play here, which is actually a big one. I'm going to decode for you guys a little bit later, just to show like how important sometimes some of these emails that you'll see just look really, really elevated. Oftentimes it's just the play on typography. And if you haven't studied design, you don't realize that stuff, but you'll see like different interplay between colors and size here. Works really, really nicely. Offer above the fold. Then we're building the bridge here. So building the brand in the bridge section, USPs here, using infographics and diagrams as well, which again, break up the copy, make it really, really playful. Again, even just if this was all the same color, it wouldn't be the same as how good it looks here. A great example of that welcome email one design flow here. And so definitely want to copy. Another principle for great email design is to hero the product, especially mid-scroll. So attention drops mid-scroll. You want to bring it back. Feature your product again halfway down, especially if it's a longer email, to reset the user's focus. Big, bold, beautiful infographics or just well-curated lifestyle images or product images with text and overlays do the job here. And I want to give you a great example for Everyman Jack. You'll see here, beautiful hero image, header, CTA, all over the fold. Nice transition here where this product actually overlays here, and nice little transition of the tail edges, all just make it look elevated. You'll notice then hierarchy again. So they've got another subheader and then body copy to make it look really engaging. And then they've heroed the product again mid scroll with some infographics here. So just pretty much a great example of all of those different design principles that make up great email design at play within this example. Let's go into color theory and brand palette. Won't take too long on this. So color defines emotion. Too many colors equals chaos. You want to keep 2 to 3 primary tones, and then let photography and lifestyle imagery carry the shots, and carry vibrancy. Like this, for example, if you're a fashion brand, that's why a lot of fashion brands opt for white space, because they've got really beautiful exotic product shots, for example. You don't want to take away from that. So you want to really let your lifestyle imagery do the talking. Choose, 2 to 3 primary tones. Use colors intentionally to highlight hierarchy, as we can see in quite a lot of these ones here, right? This creates the aesthetic look of those emails that you love. So this is really starting to decode some of the brands that you love. Great email from HexCloud here. Offer, well, like a nice welcome and a shop HexCloud above the fold. And then we've got a nice transition where we've got the hero and it transitions into black so you can see things. And then we've got the offer above the fold in a really nice, well-curated section here. So I think that's really, really strong as well. I don't like it when you just see like the offer in a really templatized form and it's just like looks like a copy and paste coupon code. It just looks really cheap, make it look premium. This is how emails look really, really great. And you're gonna get people way more excited to buy when you do this. Typography is a huge one. And if you're an email marketing agency owner, you probably don't know too much about this unless you've got a background in design. Now, I don't classically have a background in design, but I've studied a lot of these things because I just love design and I wanted to understand how we could have the best designs in the game. Typography is huge. It's the brand voice in visual form. It must match your tone, so luxury, raw, playful, etc. So you should really, at this stage, have a brand book. You should have thought about these things, brand guidelines. If not, bring someone on to do that. Just hire a consultant for a week to just think of all of these things from you. Everything downstream is going to then build off that trunk. Like those are the roots, and everything else, all of your content, your creative, and your ads are the branches from that. It's going to essentially flow naturally, it should naturally flow across all devices. So there should be consistency here. Playing with contrasting type can be all the difference in what makes your email feel more skimmable, more clickable, and more elevated. I'll give you a good example in a second. Headers should be different to body font. Oops, that should be different, but at least you can see I didn't use AI on this one. You want to use distinction. Headers should be different to body. So I'll give you an example of this. Look at Everyman Jack, how they've done that. You got almost 3 different types here. You got soothed, you got the shave, and then you got the body. 3 different ones, and that just makes it look so much more premium and editorial and like a real advert, like a real brand. If it's all the same, it just looks flat, really one-dimensional and unengaging. Line height, spacing, you want breathing room. You notice the breathing room here, for example. You're going to notice breathing room here as well. It's not all squashed together. That can make things look really claustrophobic and really, really just make things look cheap. And obviously you want to always get your designers to optimize for mobile. You shouldn't really be working with an email designer who doesn't know how to do this. So I won't go too much further into that. This is one that we did for Define. You can see here, different type here, different type here, bold here, here, bolded the code, and then you've got the nice CTA here, beautifully optimized for mobile. I mean, just look at that. And then you see how the transitions, the background here, the white pops on the blue, and then it transitions over to darker so we can read the white here. This is, I'm gonna highlight all of this so you can actually just see that, right? I need my scribbles to ruin that masterpiece. And that perfectly segues on to background, texture, and depth, which are some of the biggest ones that I emphasize. Flat design is dead unless you are a minimal brand. So if you're a skincare brand or a clothing brand, you can use white because the additional lifestyle imagery and content that you can use should really bring it to life, right? But if you're not, you want to add subtle texture, shadows, and gradients to create depth, right? This is gradient. Contrast is crucial. Light text on dark and dark on light, for example. That's why we got the white here. That's why we got the black here, for example. If you're going for background, subtle texture and transitions can completely change the look of an email. If you go white and minimal, it's all on the image curation. You need to know these things. So Brez is a beautiful example of like subtle texture. Like, instead of just purple here, they've got loads of little hues in the background, and then they've got the little texture here, and then it goes on to a nice clean background here. But just see the this is a transition, right? It's not just a harsh line. This is a transition. It's beautiful. This is one of our brands here, Daisy Face. This is a skincare brand, so we went for the white and minimal. But you can see here how it's the image curation. Like, look at how this is curated. We've even round the edges here, and those make a difference. We've rounded the CTAs here, so that makes a difference. This kind of fades up into the logo, which makes a difference. And the nice rounded here, and we've still got borders, so it doesn't look flat, and things are aligned really nicely. We've gone left aligned to look really editorial. And then we've got nice rounded edges here, and when we're doing things, we've got really well curated imagery to make things pop. So you need to think about these details if you want to make an email look really, really elevated. Visual storytelling beats paragraphs. This is huge. Infographics beat blocks of text all day, unless you're being really, really intentional about that. So iconography, data, illustrations can make complex ideas way more skimmable, way more scannable, and way more fun and entertaining. This makes your email more skimmable, engaging, and doesn't instantly lose people with huge walls of text. And again, you just got to be mindful of the brainwave state that science has said people are in when they're scrolling. It's a real thing. Great examples here, for example. Again, another one from Daisy Face. We've got the main match. I thought this was awesome. Like, they could have just sort of listed all of this out in a big bullet point, but instead they've highlighted some of the products here in a beautiful, nice little design feature. And then they've got this little line and listicle kind of infographic with questions to make it engaging. A nice big box, different color plays, for example, and a box around that. And then you can see gradients at play here and transitions. So you see how they've transitioned from the header down, not just a harsh line. They've blurred things here into a color. Like, all of these principles are at play within this email. It looks amazing. With Daisy Face, look here. We could have again put this into just a little wall or a block of copy or like ugly bullet points. But no, if we do this real editorial annotation of an image, suddenly it looks really, really engaging, and suddenly you want to read that, and suddenly you can dissect that. Quick question, ready to glow naturally. Shop Daisy Face. Boom. That's one email. Crushes it. And then you have the CTA at the top as well. So great best practices there. So you can really start to play with things here. White space is a luxury secret weapon. So this is if you are going for more luxury, and Daisy Face is definitely more of a luxury skincare brand, hence why we've utilized the white space. But space is status. More white space equals higher perceived value. This is a timeless design principle. You want to use it to separate ideas, emphasize contrast, and make CTAs pop, right? Number 8, dynamic scroll and visual rhythm. Emails that shouldn't feel just like stacked blocks. Like when I just see like standard Klaviyo template blocks, you're just going to lose people. You're not going to be able to scale a brand with that kind of content on the back end. They need to feel like a journey. So add subtle motion, angular section dividers, rounded edges, for example, overlapping imagery. You can see it here. You can see overlapping imagery here, etc. GIFs or for flow and movement. So if you just add GIFs in, for example, little headers, that can work really, really nicely. And I'm going to sort of go into a bit more here. Another key design principle for really elevated design is interactive and motion elements. So micro motion equals modernity. GIF loops, hover states, 3D trinkets can work really nicely. So sometimes if above the fold you have a hero product, but you make it look a bit 3D, those work really, really well right now. Reveal animations, use them sparingly for realism. It makes the brand feel alive and breaks visual fatigue. This could be UGC, GIFs, hero text. Let's say, for example, you've got a fashion brand or a skincare brand and you're on TikTok, right? Take some of those TikToks, turn them into GIFs, use them as heroes or mid-scroll heroes, etc. within your email. Can just make things really engaging. And again, you've got to think people are a bit addicted to short form now. So if you give them a bit of a short form dopamine hit within your email, you're going to really increase the likelihood people dwell on your email and then click through, which is key. This is one of our brands here. Sadly, you can't see the GIF here, but if you click on the doc, you will. But then like more text comes up here and it looks really, really cool. And it kind of like do 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks really nice. 'Tis the season to be, and this is like a Halloween style autumn one. So that one looks really, really beautiful. It's just a nice way. Just text alone, put in a GIF or animation can just suddenly make it look a lot more engaging and premium. You want to adapt your design to the brand DNA though. One size doesn't fit all. For example, what you see here with Go Flower, what you see here with Main Match, Daisy Face, Brez, Define. They're all different brands, right? So you do need to understand your brand identity. Skincare might be calm, soft, clean, premium, clinical. You want to know that. Supplements might be bold, energetic, wellness, masculine, feminine. Really depends. Fashion might be editorial. It might be quirky. It might be lifestyle driven. You want to know your visual style, make mood boards and get clear, and then start to play around with that and find brands that match that. You want to be consistent with it and then play within your game. So Go Flower, for example, like editorial. They like flamingo estate. They like kind of LA-based, boutiquey, quirky, or also being premium. Those are our sort of that's our sandpit, and then we get to play in that, and then use these design principles to play within that world. You want to have consistency here. So those are some real great insights around email design and how to make email design great. But then, of course, the detail is you need copy to build design around. So I'm going to give you a full copywriting breakdown now. This is everything I've learned about what makes great email marketing copywriting. I'm not going to make it too long-winded. We're going to jump straight in. Copy drives clicks, not cleverness. The goal is to say more with less. So concision is a principle I'm going to consistently re-anchor to here in a way that only your brand can say. So the goal is to say more or less in a way that only your brand can say it. It's a key detail there. Here's how to write emails people actually read and act on and click on. Firstly, keep it simple, stupid. Focus on one core idea per email. Cut every unnecessary word. Clarity tends to win over cleverness. Humor does win though. Humor is great. There's been so many cohorts done by big marketing agencies, and they found that like 70% of the highest performing ads had a level of wit or humor in. So never shy away from that in a non-brand way. So I think wit and humor work really well, as long as the message is still clear, depending on what the goal of the email is. Um, but there's a book called Say It Well, and it's all about being concise. And then like, how do you say the same thing with less characters? How do you say the same thing with less characters? The benefit of this is not only do you learn how to communicate more clearly and write more effectively, but also the less copy, the more flexibility and freedom a designer has. We've seen this time and time again. Designers always say, and the feedback is like, less copy, I can just do more beautiful things with it. So if you want scroll stopping design, you don't want to be essay writing. If someone can grasp your message while half distracted, you've nailed it. Think about the brainwave state. I said this before, someone's in when they're scrolling. We must have this in mind when writing copy. Look into this, okay? Focus on benefits, not features, is a clear copywriting principle that's been tried and tested. You get this in books like Cashvertising and Ogilvy books. People don't buy products, they buy better versions of themselves. So replace high quality leather loafers with loafers that last a lifetime. Pull from customer reviews. Why they love you often reveals your best copy. So again, we've done this for just mining reviews, but sometimes like you can use AI to mine reviews and actually write better copy because you can lean into the benefits, goals, and preferences that your customers have, and that's going to connect with them more psychologically. Check out competitor reviews to uncover pain points as well, and then you can lean into how you can solve those pain points in your copy. You want to understand your brand voice. This is what some of the best brands do well, and it just takes a bit of critical thinking, sitting down in phase one and getting really clear on this. Is your brand a person? How would it talk? You know, I've seen some brands that do a good job of like being very personified. So like the brand talks like a girly best friend or like a male brother. Or is it just more of a corporation and talks in a certain way? Is it kind of from the founder? How would it talk if it was a person? Like, what's its language? How would it talk? Like, start to personify your brand and get clear on how would it talk. Define your tone: plainful, refined, bold, nurturing, luxury. Use your audience's actual language, the words that they use in conversation. So the brands that I see write copy the best, they kind of know what's in vogue and what's on trend with like their audience. So like if it's an LA-based activewear brand, like Set Active, for example, I break those guys down a lot. They say babe and they say chick, and they kind of like talk to like the girls, and like they kind of talk to the talk in a way which is going to resonate with their lifestyle. For example, they know they're gym goers or jet setters and they like to travel. They kind of I don't know what I'm doing here. They kind of write though in a way which resonates with their customer, right? They write in a way which resonates with their ICP. They know who their ICP is. And oftentimes they're you know, you should really oftentimes like you should really know who your customer is. And you should really write in a way which is going to resonate with them. This is key to getting a lot of things right. You can go like, if you get that part right, everything's kind of going to be natural and you're going to resonate with them. Obviously, you're going to be using AI at this point. If you're not, it's not necessarily clever. But if you use AI badly, you can destroy your brand. AI can help you brainstorm, but you're the person who gives it solve. So you still need to understand how to use AI or what good copywriting is. So you know what good is. You need to know. You want to edit sentence rhythm. You want to break patterns. You want to add energy in, add a bit of surprise, and reformat things so it doesn't look like it's from AI. Watch for predictable phasing and filler language from AI. For example, if you're writing copy for an outdoor brand, AI is so easy to spot. It uses words like gear and it uses like really boring cliches. If you've done this long enough, you can really see it. So be self-aware of what bad copy is and self-aware of like what AI looking copy looks like. So you can make sure your brand's not putting that out, because people now are going to have a real authenticity detector. So if you can like win that battle and like use AI smart, but like pass the authenticity smell test, that's going to be key to really getting people on board with your brand. Always inject something human, humor, honesty, or empathy. If you're being lazy here, Um, I can't help you with that. You want to write like a designer. So you want a visual hierarchy applies to every word, header, hook, subheader is the bridge, body, short skimmable value. How would this look in an infographic you want to think about? And CTA, you want to hand whatever the goal of the email is on a silver platter. You want to understand those design principles as an email marketer, so then you can understand how your email can be visualized through great design. When I started to put together great copy and conscious competence of design, that's when I started to create beautiful emails and my team. And then I was able to lead my team on how to create beautiful emails. So make it feel easy to scroll. People are reading in traffic, on the treadmill, in checkout lines, on the toilet at work. Have your designer in mind as well. So these are some key ones. Like you want to have your designer in mind when you're writing your email. So like how would this actually end up being visualized? And then also you want to make sure you're thinking about your target audience and like what kind of environments they're reading these emails, and like would it be appealing in those contexts. That's what you want to think about when you're writing things. You want to stay consistent, build familiarity through repetition in tone, pacing, and formatting. So that's why recurring features are great. You start to just continue to find your style and also build familiarity and like ritual with your audience, which is huge. Every email should feel unmistakably you. And again, this should be an ongoing exercise in phase two. So you continue to refine these things in phase two. And you want to study the best, subscribe to your favorite brands. This is something I do all the time. Whenever I see an email that I love or makes me open and or makes me click on it or makes me at least dwell on it, I save it because there's a reason I stayed on that email. So if you just get into the habit of being a creator and not a consumer, and you become consciously aware of whenever something hooks you, then you save that and reverse engineer why that happens. You will start to see patterns, and you will start to understand what's great, and then you can start to steal those ideas, and you're going to have an unlimited well of inspiration for creating content for yourself. So this is a real big one. I'm going to get into build a swipe file of subject lines, layouts, and hooks that inspire you. So if it was the subject line that made you open it, copy and paste that and build a folder on your phone. And if it's the layout and the hooks, also copy and paste that and build a folder as well. Great copywriters are great curators first. I remember reading this in a book and I can't remember which one it was, but feed great emails into AI sometimes. It's another hack, and ask them what they're doing. Teach yourself good copy. Go, listen, you can take all of those like one email, go like, I was really drawn to this email. What is it that's actually going on here that really hooked me in? And sometimes AI might help actually break down those principles and help you understand it and be able to articulate it in a more clear way and demystify these things. And when you start to demystify things at work in marketing and sales, you start to become a real marketing master. And becoming successful is going to be easy when you do these things, and it's a process. Let's go to segmentation and deliverability, because this is a key part of getting email marketing right. We've got all of these things right now. We've got beautiful flows, we've got amazing campaigns, beautiful designs, great copywriting, great content pillars, etc. But if we're not landing in the inbox of our customers, it's all in vain. So we want to be aiming for like a 90% deliverability score plus. Unsubscribe rate doesn't really alarm me. If at the moment things are excellent, things are good. This is a brand of ours that's up 15% over the last 30 days while working with us. Deliverability and segmentation is like a jab, and keeping your hands up in boxing. It's step one. If you get this wrong, you're gonna lose. You're gonna get knocked out. In most cases, the simpler your segmentation strategy, the better your deliverability, reach, and revenue. So I'm just gonna demystify things. Clearly, I like that word today. And I'm going to make segmentation and deliverability really easy. I'm going to boil it down into the key essentials without trying to overwhelm you to make myself look clever. I just want to make it easy for you. Because segmentation can often feel clever until it starts hurting performance. And we found this time and time again. I used to try and be a master of segmentation until I realized like this doesn't generate the results. Let's focus on the highest needle movers. I've seen it all the times. Brands with 40 plus micro segments, I get into their accounts because I win those clients over and like from their other agencies, and I have to start cleaning up all of this mess. Brands with 40 plus micro segments, often sending to one of them a month to protect deliverability while missing out on thousands in sales. Now listen to this part clearly. You don't build deliverability by sending less. You build it by sending consistently to people who are actually engaged. This is like really how you build great deliverability. So reach and frequency beats granularity, despite what a lot of fancy email marketers on LinkedIn will say to try and like make themselves sound clever. Your most profitable audience equals anyone who's opened, clicked, or visited your site in the last 30 to 90 days. This is where you want to be sending 90% of your emails. That's your money making list. You want to email these people 3 to 4 times a week. You want to keep your send simple, 1 or 2 engaged segments max. So maybe like twice a week to a 60-day engaged segment, once to a 90. If you're getting 60% opens, you can open it up. If you're not, dial it down to 30 or 14 days. You build deliverability through consistent quality and engagement. So this is where predictability and consistency comes from. And this is why brands who don't email their list predictably and have like 50,000 people but haven't emailed them for a year are in dire trouble. If I'm honest, we can try and resurrect as much as possible, but you really just want to focus on building on a new engaged list and then building good habits. Sad to say, but just get busy from today. You're not annoying people when your emails are good. This is something I think I see a lot of brand owners worry about if I talk to them on like sales calls at the beginning, when I talk about sending like 2 to 3 emails a week. They're like, I don't want to spam my customers. And it comes from like good intentions. But here's what I always say: most brands are emailing their customers that are worth their salt 2 or 3 times a week. So if you don't do that and you're only emailing once or twice a month, like you run the risk of just not even being seen for a start. But also, if your emails are good, you're actually reminding them why they trust your brand. Most brands overthink this and are over concerned, and it's good intentions, but oftentimes you're just hurting the performance of your brand. Sometimes you've got to take emotion out of it and just go, what is actually best for the good of my company? What is best for the good of my company? Because if my company's growing, it feeds me better, it feeds my employees better, it feeds everyone better. So my kind of like personal opinion on like spamming people is kind of irrelevant. The best entrepreneurs like don't follow like their own emotional biases. They just follow like what works. So don't worry about annoying your customers. Just make sure your emails are awesome and they're going to appreciate seeing them. And also, one thing I'll say is if you're a brand owner or you're an entrepreneur, often you don't think like your customers think. So that's a fallacy I think a lot of people fall into. What happens when you simplify everything here though? You send more emails because managing one clean segment is easy, so you're not overwhelmed of like trying to tailoring messaging all of the time. You make more money, more reach equals more eyeballs equals more clicks, and you protect deliverability because inbox loves consistent engagement. So here are your core segments I want you to go and build out. I would actually do this in phase one. Phase one. You want to keep it clean and scalable. A 14-day engaged list. This is your hottest list for ultra active subscribers. These guys should always be receiving emails from you. 30-day engaged list, pretty much the same, very healthy and reliable revenue segment. 60-day engaged segment, I would send to these guys once a week, maybe. Great balance for reach and relevant. I'll send to these guys about 4 or 5 times a week. Your 90-day engaged segment, your long tail, still valuable if engagement holds. If you can get 60 or 70% open rates to your 90-day engaged segment, you're in the money. This is where you want to be, and I'll be sending to those guys 3 or 4, 2 or 3 times a week. But start narrow, 14 to 30 day. Scale up once your open rates stay above 40 or 50%. And to fix deliverability a little bit more and start to troubleshoot things, inbox providers want to see steady engagement, opens, clicks, replies, and scroll time. So keep things in a simple loop. Engage people, send great emails using great copy and great designs and great content pillars. You're going to get higher engagement. That's going to give feedback and get you better deliverability, and you're going to get more revenue because more people are opening your engaging emails. All really, really cool. You want to serve your audience consistently, and the algorithm will follow in time. Here are some further deliverability non-negotiables though, because I'm sure all of you are in various different positions and you might have various issues and you might be doing those things and still having problems. So I want to help you out here. Obviously, you want to make sure you've got a branded sender domain. Use Klaviyo. Most of you will be on MailChimp or something like that. Klaviyo pretty much helps you with all of these things now, and it walks you through how to do it. It's going to give you like step-by-step walkthrough. So just go on Klaviyo, add branded sender domain, add in these CNAME records and these TXTs. You're going to get all of your DMARCs and your DNS records kind of taken care of now by Klaviyo. And you just want to make sure that your sending name is like emails at yourbrand.com, etc. So it looks like it's good. It's not just from like a weird spammy looking email address. You want to authenticate your domain. Again, Klaviyo is going to take you through all of these things. But set up a brand. This used to be way more complicated. You want to set up a brand and send in a name to like mail at define.com. Klaviyo walks you through this. Just add DNS records in GoDaddy or wherever your domain lives. You want to avoid generic senders, so never use Gmail or Hotmail for branded comms. You want to keep your list clean. The sunset flow is going to do this for you. I would always suppress hard bounces like once a week, because hard bounces is what tanks deliverability. If you're consistently sending people that are bouncing, you need to fix that. You need to get rid of that. So I'd always be filtering out once a week or at least once a month hard bounces, spam complaints, and old unengaged profiles, and just suppress them. It's going to make your Klaviyo bill leaner. A great email marketing agency or Klaviyo agency should be just doing this for you as well. Our goal is to always keep our brands' Klaviyo account as lean and as profitable as possible. and just engage the right audience. Focus on that 30 to 90 day segment for consistent deliverability. You want to watch for your signals. You want to monitor open rates, click rates, spam complaints, and inbox placement. So that's deliverability. So now you've got everything from copywriting, all of your key flows, how to improve and optimize those flows. Great tests that you can make within the show notes. Or the video link. I'm also going to give you a Google Doc for loads of testing ideas as well. So you've just got everything. And you've got everything you need to know about design and making design beautiful. Just hire great designers, give them this, they know exactly, but now you know what to look out for, how to get inspiration, etc. Use milled panarameter, great copywriting principles as well, how to observe your campaign performance and iterate. Go through this video. I'm going to leave this document with you. You've got everything you need here. And this is everything I would do to scale an ecom brand to millions. And the only other thing I'd be thinking about after this, with this sort of going through phase one and cooking in phase two, is having a killer media buying strategy with someone who knows how to do a high volume of creative tests. And then I'll just be investing in content, UGC, and creative and shoots. You get those things right with great products. The only thing you're going to have to worry about is making sure you've got enough stock to keep up with the scale. So a little bit of a thank you from me. Obviously, we've taken a bit of time here, so I really do appreciate your time. That's because email is an entire ecosystem and it's one of the biggest levers and channels for your brand. Again, most of our brands have email doing around 30 to 50% of their total revenue. So like, of course, this takes a bit of time to understand. It touches on brand, design, copy psychology, performance, retention psychology, lifecycle marketing. There's actually a lot to think about to do email marketing really, really well. But once it clicks, it becomes an incredibly profitable growth engine that keeps your brand alive long after ads slow down, increases the lifetime value of your customer, and makes your company way more scalable. If you want to take everything you've learned here and actually have it all done for you, strategy, design, flows, campaign optimization, and a team who just really cares, shows up and hustles for you every day, and you're probably going to like us and invite us to your weddings because we're just awesome guys and we know how to scale brands. We do this for brands all of the time. You can learn more about my offer here. You can come onto the website, watch a little video from me. What we love to do is have a short chat, give you a free email audit. I spend 4 or 5 hours getting into your account, showing how we can improve and get quick wins and long-term plays. I'll give you a full audit and a free proposal as well. We'll take you through phase one and get you ready for phase two. And then I'll also give you a free email design as well. So as I've mentioned, we've got one of the world's best email marketing design teams. We'll mock you up a free email creative only if we think we can help you. So we don't do this for everyone. It all starts with a 50-minute chat. I'll ask a few questions. You'll ask me a couple of questions, no doubt. We'll get on well. And then if we think there's some synergy there, we can move you through to the best email order online and a complimentary redesign of your email one. Really cool offer. Every brand owner I work with is like, blimey, your audits and your email designs are far better than anything I've seen, and I'm very proud of that. So I'd love if you feel like this is right. If you're just touching that $1 million revenue mark plus, and you anywhere from 1 million and want to get to like 40, 50 million, we're kind of the agency for you at this stage. If you're just getting started, we can build out the foundations for you, but you're not really going to progress into phase two with us. We can just start things off casually with just a call to see if there's a good fit. If it makes sense, we'll create a fee order, custom email with design mockup, and a 90-day growth proposal tailored to your brand. Hope you do book in. So you can use this call if you just want to book in straight away. If you want to just learn a little bit more about me and spend a bit more time with me, go watch this video. I explain the offer in detail. If you want any more convincing that we're a good agency to work with, you have a perfect Trustpilot record. I intend to keep that. So doing deals with brands that we can't actually help is not how I'm going to keep a perfect Trustpilot record. So I don't know if there's any agency in my space that's got nothing but 5-star reviews. I'm going for the 50-0 Floyd Mayweather on this one. If you've got any questions about what we've covered, drop them in the comments. I'll get back to everyone. I personally reply and help when I can. I really do appreciate you watching. I'll see you in your inbox. Sign up to some of our brands, see the magic we're doing. Here are some of the accounts that we've just started working on, by the way, and the kind of results that we're getting. You're going to see this. I'll leave this Google Doc in the meeting notes for you, alongside with swipe files, other A/B testing ideas, etc. It's been a blast. It's been a long one. If you've got through all of this, you are now pretty much in the top 1% of email marketers online. This is everything you need to know to run email marketing at the highest level. This is what brands like Allbirds, Dr. Squatch, Set Active, Ridge Wallets, Hexcloud, some of the top multi, 8-figure, 9-figure ecom brands. This is what they're doing through email marketing. Like, if you can really download this and really understand this, like you've arrived at the end. Now it's just about implementation, attention to detail, and consistency. but there's no more secret insights you really need to worry about. And you can learn a load of cool tricks just by following other brands and subscribing. Follow me on Instagram. I also drop any cool tips or insights that I have on my journey of consistently doing this for brands. So make sure you follow me on other channels. But I hope this email marketing course has been helpful. Give me a like and subscribe if it has been valuable. Enjoy all of the docs there, and I'll see you on the next one.